scoreless since 2007. And it's fielded about the 7-yard line by Joyner. And he is brought down out near the 24. And Jesse, Byram Brown, the quarterback for USF, he set every school's single-season passing record a year ago.
Yeah, and Jalen Milroe is going to get all the headlines in this game, and with good reason. But this guy's a pretty good dual-threat quarterback as well. Got a lot of arm talent to throw it to the perimeter and deep down the field. Tough to tackle at 230 pounds. One of only 2 guys a year ago, Joe, that threw for 3,000 yards and ran for over 800. The only other guy was Heisman Trophy winner Jaden Daniels.
Wow, good company. And get ready for tempo. Brown gets it out quickly and gets it to his favorite target, Sean Atkins. Sean Atkins, who's been in the program for 4 years, was underutilized, and then a year ago really burst out with all the great stats. Had 92 receptions. Quick to the line. On the carry is Naquan Wright, the transfer from Florida.
They go so fast, Joe. Last year they averaged 82 plays a game. It was the most in the country. They get the call quick, they get it communicated, they get lined up, put so much stress on the defense.
2nd and 8. Brown is going to try to run it himself, but he goes absolutely nowhere. Tim Keenan with the tackle.
This is a way you can slow the tempo down a little bit by getting them in 3rd and long situations. This is when Alex Golish, the head coach at USF, they look into their playbook. They think about potentially substituting, changing the formation like they are here, and it gives you a chance to settle down a bit on defense.
Tackle for loss makes it a 3rd and 10. Good play by Keenan. Brown scrambling, looking to extend the play. Pumps, tries to get to the corner, dives for the line to make, but Campbell may have pushed him out before there based on that mark.
Well, this is something that I think Byram Brown did such a good job of in last year's game. On 3rd down, when nothing was open, he would just take off. And here does a nice job, gets a little pump fake, which just freezes Jahad Campbell for a split second.
Automatic 1st down.
And a penalty against Alabama. So it's an automatic 1st down. This is the late hit. Damani Jackson, watch him. Excuse me, Jahad Campbell. So with that, the ball crosses midfield to the Alabama 44. Brown, quarterback run. He is gobbled up after a gain of just 3. Deontay Lawson with the tackle.
What USF wants to do is they want to count the box, and that time there were only 4 defenders close to the line of scrimmage. So that's an RPO for Brown, and it signals for him to keep the ball himself.
Here's Wright, and Wright catches a seam and twists his way for extra yardage inside the 30-yard line. So a good opening drive for the Bulls.
And a nice cutback there. That was just a zone designed to go to the right. He saw the backside open up. He put his foot in the ground and got north.
12-yard gain. Brown, look at the time he has as he gets it to the near side. And a short completion to Sean Atkins, the reliable slot receiver.
And it's incomplete. Yeah, the ball hit the ground. It looked like it was close, but right now, this tempo, it's got Alabama's defense on their heels a little bit. Alabama was just able to substitute Q Robinson, who's a great pass rusher, comes in. You see the replay here. Ball definitely came out. But Alabama right now, between the run and the throw, they're having some issues on this opening drive.
Second and 10 after the incompletion, and Wright finds it tough to find anything against the interior of that Alabama defense. Big Tim Smith and the rest of them clogging things up.
So it's important for Alabama here on 3rd down. You got to stay in your rush lanes. Keep an eye on Brown.
3rd and 8, and Brown gets free down to the 12-yard line. A 1st down for South Florida.
Well, they just go zone read, and it was really quick. And Alabama actually had 2 defenders out to the left to defend that. They just couldn't catch Brown.
Look at how fast they're right to the line, ready to go again. 14-yard run by Byram Brown. Right, just a gain of a yard as he is driven back.
This is what Alabama has to do, and it's what they did a year ago. Was they were able to control the running game from USF with just 5 or 6 guys in the box. They are so much bigger and so much athletic in their front 7, and that's got to show itself.
11th play of this opening drive. Play action. Brown threw slightly behind the intended target. Michael Brown-Stevens incomplete. It'll be third down.
Now, one thing that USF's receivers couldn't do a year ago was separate in the passing game against Alabama's secondary. But USF has some new faces out there. They got some bodies in the transfer portal. They think they're better at that position. And now here in a critical third down in the red zone, somebody's got to be able to win for Alex Golesh and USF outside.
There's Sean Atkins, the grad student, their most reliable pass catcher. But can he find separation on 3rd and 9? Naquan Wright near side slot. Empty look for Brown for the moment before he shifts right back. Play clock down to 2. You rarely see that with the Bulls. Flags come in, as it looks like they were trying to get a timeout as well.
Yeah, Alex Golesh went sprinting down the sideline to get a timeout called. Question is, did he get it called in time?
False start. Offense number 65. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
It's Mike Lofton at center for USF. You'll just see him. Actually, it looked like the other 4 linemen should move before he did. I think he was the only guy that didn't have a false start.
That's an everybody but. Backs it up to the Alabama 16-yard line. And get a first down at the 2-yard line, but they want 7. Brown with time on the slant. That was denied. It was Campbell getting in there and defending that pass.
Byron Brown very lucky this wasn't picked off because he was staring down his intended target the entire way, and Jahad Campbell just followed the eyes right to the football. If he was there a split second earlier, that had pick 6 written all over it. So far early in this game, Sean Atkins has been the guy that Byron Brown is trying to target. Lucky that one wasn't picked.
John Cannon on for the 34-yard attempt. Was the starter all last season. 2 for 2 already this season. Hit his career long a week ago. And a successful opening drive for the South Florida Bulls. Coach Golesh saying, way to go, 3-zip. As Coach and Miss Terry are sitting up high, just taking in the game.
Look, he's got his roster sheet with him.
Oh, yeah, you know that.
You know, he's always coaching.
It never ends, does it? 3-0 South Florida on top of Alabama on a 13-play field goal cap drive to open up the game. Nico Gramatica from the Gramatica family kicking off. This is the message that Alex Golesh delivered earlier.
Remind you what I said last night, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You are not playing a logo. You guys understand me? You are playing a one-on-one battle in front of the man in front of you. Over and over and over again. One-on-one. And then you come right back. And then you come right back. And then you come right back.
Not playing the logo. Don't worry about that script A. Just go out there and play ball.
Yeah, and have that attack mentality, right? And that's what the offense did on that very first drive, going 13 plays, putting some points up. It's a really, really good start for USF playing here in this hostile environment.
Yeah, you're not playing the logo, but you are playing maybe the most athletically gifted quarterback in the country, and there he is, number 4, Jalen Milroe.
You are not wrong.
And I don't care what logo he's wearing. Short pitch to Haynes. As Justice Haynes unable to turn the corner as he was upended there. That was Rucker. So we told you last year he didn't play the South Florida game. They got off to a choppy start offensively. Then they modified the playbook, and he becomes one of the best players in the country.
Yeah, he just elevated his level of play. You think about games against Auburn and Georgia late, just the big throws he made in critical moments late in the season. And now that he's had an entire year under his belt, he just feels so much more confident. He's a better leader. Easily one of the most fun guys to watch in the sport, and USF did not get a taste of him a year ago. They're going to have their hands full here with number 4.
Jeremy Bernard with a 3-yard reception, so makes for a 3rd and 7 for Milroe. Milroe on 3rd down. Pass rush off the edge as he launches it downfield, but it's well beyond K-Law. Kendrick Law, their fastest pure speed player.
Well, that time USF brought pressure, and we're going to talk about that throughout this game. Their D coordinator, Todd Orlando, loves to blitz, and Justice Haynes did a pretty good job at running back in there helping him out, but Wilkin Formby at right tackle struggled against Jason Vaughn, who got the pressure, and the ball just beyond the outstretched arms of Kendrick Law. And how about this start for USF, Joe? 13-play drive and a field goal, and now the defense sets up a 3-and-out.
James Burnap on to punt away. The 6'6" Aussie is going to drive it downfield, flip the field into the hands of a fair catch for Sean Atkins. A long, sustained drive for South Florida and a 3-and-out for Alabama. That is our Geico recap.
That's exactly what Alex Golesh was telling his team to do, to come out, not play the logo, win the individual battles, play after play after play. Great third down scramble here by Byron Brown. A penalty tacked on extra yardage at the end. You get Naquan Wright doing a nice job with the cutback. Little QB run zone read going fast. Had Alabama on their heels a little bit defensively, and nice field goal to cap that off. Just put some points up on the board, make the drive count early. Again, you can't, I think, ask for a better start for USF to this game on both sides of the ball.
That's our drive recap covered by Geico. Byron Brown, the star quarterback, had 24 yards rushing on that opening drive. And here he goes with a QB run again as he's able to get it out to the 26-yard line.
Yeah, Joe, he's 230 pounds, so you're not only going to see zone reads to the outside, you're going to see him run between the tackles as well, because he's essentially their biggest running back.
Rushed for 92 yards last year in the game against Alabama. There's nothing there for Kelly Joyner, as he had nowhere to go with Tim Keenan.
15.5 seconds of real time between plays. They're essentially running 3 plays per minute. That's how fast they go.
I mentioned Brown had 92 yards rushing against Bama last year, but he only passed for 87 yards in that entire game. Remember the last time they got into a third and more than medium situation? They struggled with movement up at the line. They snap it at 1 here. 3rd down and 6. Brown going to take a shot downfield. Oh, and he had a man, but he couldn't connect with Michael Brown-Stevens.
That's a throw you've got to make. You may not have a lot of opportunities. You've got Brown-Stevens, the transfer from Minnesota, matched up against a true freshman, Red Morgan, in the slot. And we talked about how a year ago these receivers couldn't separate. He never had a chance that good last year. He knows right there. He just missed a big touchdown pass. It's one he's going to wish he had back.
The 30-year-old punter, Andrew Stokes, onto punt away, as Cole Adams will have a chance for a decent return here, but it's driven outside the numbers, well positioned by Andrew Stokes. On a day where we're celebrating Nick Saban here in Tuscaloosa, flag is down at the end of the punt. Dedication that happened before the game of Saban Field, and then they're going to have a very big ceremony at halftime. Bama defense tightened up on that last series for sure.
Holding on the kicking team, number 34. 10-yard penalty will be assessed and into the return. 1st down.
3-zip. Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Then we'll come inside, and at halftime we're going to have so many former players and go through the history of the greatest to ever do it in this newly named field here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. This is Bama's 4th play. That's it. 4th play so far, as Milroe nearly intercepted, as there was a lot of traffic in the pocket that time. And Banks had a shot at it, and there's a change up to the offensive line, Katie.
Yeah, Taz, starting left tackle Caden Proctor remains sidelined with a shoulder injury he suffered last week during pregame warmups. Elijah Pritchett started in his place a week ago, but tonight Alabama slides Tyler Booker over from left guard to left tackle, and then Gino Vandemark is in at left guard.
And Katie, Jaden Roberts, their right guard that time, got bull rushed by Bernard Gooden right into the quarterback. And you saw Jalen Milroe just walking around a little bit gingerly after.
2nd and 10 as he gets it to Williams, the star freshman Able to get a few yards back. But listen, we just are talking about the offensive line shuffle when you see a pocket collapse and then he's limping around after the play.
And you're going up against a pressure defense, again, that likes to blitz. It's normally only a 4 or 5 man rush. The problem is where is it coming from? Is it a linebacker? Is it a nickel? Is it a safety? Is it a corner? They do such a good job of disguising the pressures. And in this game last year, the Bulls got 5 sacks against Alabama. This is a game you'd love to have Caden Proctor in, blocking the blind side of your QB.
See the medical staff out to see Jeremy Bernard, transfer from Washington. Followed Coach DeBoer here to Alabama. Started out his career at Michigan State, then transferred to UW. So his 3rd school in 3 years. But the big move on the offensive line with Caden Proctor out. Big Tyler Booker, who's one of the best guards in America, kicking out the left.
A lot of people think he might be a first-round pick, but here you go. Look at USF at the line of scrimmage here. They've got a lot of bodies. Who's coming and who's not? You see Alabama trying to point out and trying to communicate with center Parker Brailsford. This is tough.
3rd down and 6. It's Adams in motion now in the slot. Milroe has time, wants more than 6. And unable to connect with Ryan Williams, but the flag comes in as the coverage came from Brent Austin, and you see the speed and dynamic quality downfield of the true freshman.
Yeah, it's Ryan Williams one-on-one. Joey has a chance to be a special player.
Pass interference, defense number 20. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Includes an automatic first down.
Yeah, the true freshman ran right by Paco Austin, the transfer from JMU. You see him at the bottom of the screen. Ryan Williams has a lot of speed, but Joe, he's so fluid. When you watch him run, when you watch him cut in and cut out of breaks, natural catcher of the football, and he's got the skill set why a lot of people think he's going to be the next great Alabama wide receiver.
So a 1st down, past midfield. Jam Miller as he lowers a shoulder and finds more. Ryan Williams last week was absolutely sensational. 17 years old, and this is your debut. 2 catches, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Pretty good.
Yes.
First catch was an 84-yard touchdown there. This one was really nice. He runs a dig route, catches it, makes 2 guys miss, breaks the tackle. 44-yard touchdown on that one. Quite the way for the 2-time Mr. Alabama in high school. The only ever to do that, by the way, in his very first game here in a Tide uniform. People now just can't wait to see what this guy's going to do on a weekly basis.
That was against Western Kentucky. They're sitting there saying, aren't you still supposed to be in high school? Can you please go back there right now?
He actually is. He's
That's right.
17 years old.
Got it reclassified. Milroe has that option and quickly gets it for a first down.
I like this idea too, because we've seen Alabama and Milroe. They've taken 3 shots deep down the field already and kind of getting easier throws underneath. That time to Caleb Odom, the true freshman. Just trying to help Jalen Milroe get into a little bit of a rhythm and get a little bit more comfortable against this pressure defense from USF.
Todd Orlando, the veteran defensive coordinator. He's been a DC at 8 different major college football programs. First down run for Miller as he was tripped up after a gain of just 2 yards.
That's a really nice tackle by Jamie Petway, who's subbing in right now for an injured starter, Jalen Schuler. Jalen Schuler led the team in tackles a year ago and had an interception in week 1 against Bethune-Cookman, hurt his knee on that play. And you don't just miss his leadership, but I think his speed. I think he's one of the few guys in the front 7 that could catch Milroe.
They come with Bernard around ends, and here he goes weaving his way and then fighting for extra yardage and an Alabama first down. Well-designed play, Jesse.
Yeah, and a lot of misdirection because Milroe looks like he's going to keep it to the right side. The defense flows that way, and now you flip it back to the Washington transfer. And he shows you what he can do in the open field. So you can kind of feel Milroe getting into a bit of a rhythm, and I think also Kalen DeBoer and offensive coordinator Nick Sheraton starting to do the same.
Good kick out by Robbie Oots. 13 yards for Bernard. Haynes on first down. Look at the room he has. Flag is down. Let's see if they walk this back as Justice Haynes sprints into the end zone.
I think they might get Wilcom Formby at right tackle, who was trying to block Michael Williams. Looks like he got a bit of a push in the back.
Holding offense number 56. 10-yard penalty for a foul. Repeat first down.
Well, they called that on Gino Vandemark, playing left guard. Yeah, there was a bit of a tug there on the jersey of Jason Vaughn. He's out here. They could have called that on two people there. You see on the backside, that was Formby's blocking the back as well, and touchdown erased off the board.
So the touchdown run called back. 1st and 17 after the penalty. Milroe over the middle, he gets it complete. As Bernard makes up for it, it's 1st and goal, Alabama.
Well, that time USF brought another blitz, and Alabama did a great job sliding out to the right to pick it up, give Milroe time, and there's Bernard over the middle of the field. Good, accurate throw.
1st and goal. Milroe tries to cut back, had to fight his way back towards the line of scrimmage.
This is an area of the field where Milroe is just so dangerous with his legs, but you see Bernard doing a nice job, just finds the soft spot in the zone over the middle of the field, gears down, gives Milroe a nice easy target.
Second and goal. Justice Haynes to the top of your screen, the running back splitting out. Late substitution for USF. Milroe, design quarterback run, utilizing the speed, the blocks, and into the end zone goes Jalen Milroe. A week ago, 5 total touchdowns. Had 2 rushing. Here he gets his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. Scolish knows what they're in store for. The challenge today to try to keep up with Milroe and the Tide. As Graham Nicholson puts through the extra point. So after a 3 and out, they end up going 10 plays, 65 yards, 7-3 lead. Jesse, I think some people sit back, they say, okay, Alex Golish, the head coach at USF, why does he have some success against Alabama? Remember a couple years ago, 2022, he was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee when they upset Alabama.
This is essentially Tennessee's offense. Golish was Josh Heupel's offensive coordinator at UCF, then 2 years at Tennessee. So the tempo, the spread formations, all those schemes, these should look very familiar to Alabama fans at home watching this. They've seen it before.
Brown going to launch it downfield, and it's incomplete. You know, you saw that note there on Alex Golish, born in Russia, so he's an immigrant to this country. 2 major college football coaches are immigrants and now U.S. citizens. Kalani Sitake at BYU. Of course, Tongan has been leading the program for BYU. They're going to go for it again. And that was overthrown beyond Brown-Stevens.
Well, this is something that in this offense they like to do. They take a shot against a corner, and then they sub a brand new receiver in the game, and they go deep against the same guy who potentially is running out of gas. So aggressive in the pass game here on this drive.
3rd down and 10. Brown looking for options and has to go underneath to right, who goes for the sticks to make. We'll see where they mark this. But Jess, they run a guy off and then they run you right back.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They're just literally putting so much stress on you. They put stress on you because they spread you out and force you to tackle in space. And they put stress on your secondary because they're taking deep shots all the time. So here's 4th down, 4th and short, inside their own 35-yard line. Golish has his offense on the field.
He's not even hesitating. 4th and less than 1 from their own 34. Watch that play clock. As you see Brown checking at the line. See if he gives a hard count here or not. And they couldn't get him to bite on it. So a timeout is going to be utilized by South Florida. Well, we could focus in a little more on Alex Golesh and the development of this program. This is a program that struggled in recent years. The success he had at Tennessee, and what's been the formula early on for some of the early success he's having with the Bulls?
Well, I think really it's the attitude and the approach that he's giving them. And you saw earlier in the pregame speech, he just gives them a little bit of swagger. And we had a chance to talk to some of their players yesterday, and they said, you know, he just makes us believe in ourselves, that we're not going to be afraid of anybody. You take a look at USF's schedule this year: Bama, Miami, non-conference opponents. But after a 6-win improvement a year ago, and the way that he's recruiting with 19 starters back this season, there's a lot of reason to have positive vibes. And for this team to be confident, it starts with their second-year head coach.
Yeah, I love the clip that we were able to play earlier today when he was in the locker room. He said, "You're not playing the logo. Don't worry about the script A." Now, you know that the message penetrated, because when we talked to players this week, they were repeating that phrase back to us, Jesse.
Yeah, and it's about winning the one-on-one matchups. Again, this is an offense and a defense. They know what they're up against coming in here to Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, but nobody gave them a shot a year ago. I think that close game last season gave them a little bit more juice coming into this one as well. But they want to prove to people at home that, you know what, that wasn't a fluke. We're talented. We're a team that we think can win the American Conference. We have an opportunity on national TV to make a point.
Of course, last year they felt like that result give them a sense of confidence that they can go out there and have a real chance to take it to Bama. Stokes on to punt after the timeout. His second punt of the game. And Mbakwe deep to return. He settles his feet at about the 30-yard line and then is driven back inside the 15. And a flag is down at 31. '51-yard punt. Check on the flag.
There is no foul for legal substitution. There were 11 players on the field to play when the ball was legally snapped.
Next Saturday, it is the SEC on ABC. Milroe. And he makes a decision to burst. That's exactly what you get. Tried to get it to the outside, but couldn't turn the corner.
Well, what I love what they do here is it's not an RPO. It's a pass QBRO. It's a pass QB run. He might throw it out here. If he doesn't have the look he wants, then he's going to keep it. And he's going to go to the right-hand side with the lead blocker in Jan Miller. Didn't really lead block for him that time. He looked a little bit more confused with what was going on.
It's the QBR portion of that acronym that really can frustrate defensive coordinators, because he's about as dangerous as it gets. And that's going to be waved off as there was some movement. Remember, Alabama with
False start. Offense number 52. 5-yard penalty. It remains second down.
With a jigsaw puzzled offensive line as Caden Proctor is out. Pritchett unable to go, so they kick Tyler Booker out to left tackle. He was flagged right there. One of the best offensive linemen in the country, but playing left tackle tonight. Second and 11. Milroe. Overthrow. Looked like a little bit of contact as Bernard was the intended target and Rucker had coverage.
Well, I'll say this. USF has come out defensively and they've been aggressive. We've talked about the blitzing, but there's also a lot of press man coverage on the outside. And they're challenging these Alabama wide receivers to get behind them. That time the Tennessee transfer Deshaun Rucker locked up in a one-on-one matchup and now forces 3rd and 11.
Milroe on 3rd and 11. Pressure straight up the middle as Milroe escapes it for a moment but overthrows C.J. Dupree. Pressure came from Matt Harris.
And you're trying to fight speed with speed. That's what Todd Orlando, the D coordinator, is trying to do. Mac Harris is one of the fastest linebackers I think you'll see on tape. And he showed it right here, blitzing right up the middle. He's able to find a little bit of a crease, and it forces Jalen Milroe to just have to bring his eyes down for a second. Great job escaping. A bit of an errant throw over top of C.J. Dupree. And USF forces another punt.
And Burnup skies this high into the Alabama night as the fair catch is hauled in at about the 37-yard line by Sean Atkins. Bama's second 3 and out already tonight, Jesse.
Yeah, I think the pressures right now from USF is confusing Alabama up front a little bit, but they're getting in position where they can dial those up too. They're winning on 1st and 2nd down, creating 3rd and longs, and that's really where defensive coordinator Todd Orlando can go into his bag of tricks, and he's done a nice job mixing up the pressures, bringing them from different places. He's not showing the same pictures to Alabama over and over.
Great opening scoring drive. 10 plays and 59 yards, and then back-to-back 3 and outs for USF. Keith, he can't find anything on the right side of that line. Justin Jefferson was the first to get to
Yeah, he completely shut that down, and they're trying to pull offensive linemen and bounce this thing to the outside, but he built a wall.
2nd and 10. Brown going to keep it himself. Uses the blocker well and keeps his footing and turns the corner. You see the smart play and the athleticism of Byram Brown. 1st down, Bulls.
It's a zone read, and the fake inside sucks all those players from the Crimson Tide down inside, and then you see Brown. Nice patient running and also showing you the speed.
19-yard run by Byram Brown. 1st down pass attempt, and gets the crossing route complete for a 1st down to Sean Atkins. Had 92 catches a year ago.
We saw the motion pre-snap, and that kind of flexed and stretched Alabama's defense horizontally, creating the space over the middle of the field to throw into.
We're at the Alabama 33 all of a sudden. He is sacked. Brought down by Q Robinson.
Q Robinson is a 5th-year senior, a guy who's waited his turn here at Alabama behind guys like Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, and Chris Braswell. And that time, they rush him from inside, and he's able to beat the left guard, Jack Wilty, on his way to the QB.
And Braswell 8 sacks a year ago. Turner had 10 sacks, and now Q Robinson gets his chance, and he delivers there to force a 2nd and 17. Keith, nothing.
It was Q Robinson again, that time. In this new Kane Womack swarm defense, they line up these very athletic pass rushers, sometimes just a yard off the ball, and they can move their linebackers around on different spots and use their speed to their advantage. This time they've got Robinson on the edge.
They're 1 of 5 on 3rd downs tonight. 3rd and 16 for the Bulls. They're going to go underneath to Atkins, and Atkins struggles to get free. It was Jefferson in there again, as well as Malachi Moore.
Well, they've got a kicker in John Cannon, whose career long was a 53-yarder. He did it last week against Bethune-Cookman, but they're out of that range right now. So I think if you're Alex Golesh, you're sort of in that no-man land. I think they're going to think about just going for this.
2nd season at USF for Polish. We told you all the success he had a year ago just to get to the 6-win plateau and then win a bowl game, defeated Syracuse. We're going to send out Stokes to punt this ball away. Nose down, back rotation, looking for the pin outside the numbers, and Chad Kramer, who's the special teams coordinator, says he trusts Stokes in a spot like that, and he delivers for coach. Now a quick word from Verbo.
As your host, I have some rules. First, no showers longer than 5 minutes. This isn't a spa. That's the rule.
Meanwhile, at a Verbo, when other vacation rentals make you share your turf with a host, try one that's all yours.
17 seasons for Coach Saban, a gig on game day, and you come back home to Tuscaloosa on a night where the field is named in your honor. Haynes goes ahead for 3.5 yards as he was tackled by Harris. We come to the end of the first quarter.
Welcome back to Tuscaloosa. I'm on the sidelines with Alex Golish. Alex, defense has gotten off to a great start, forcing a couple 3-and-outs. How would you assess your offense's first start?
Yeah, I think we just got to go one play at a time. Got us on one down here at the student section. Should have been on silent. We weren't. But I thought we started to get in a rhythm there, put a drive together. Just got to go finish it. It's just a matter of the guys being poised, us being poised, and going back to just playing one play at a time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Golish's team has been poised. Milroe goes for 4 yards, but there's a flag down.
I think it's Gino Vandermark again.
10-yard penalty from the previous spot.
We saw him have a holding penalty
Second down.
last drive out, and he just did it again. Right now, just being a little bit too handsy at the point of attack. He's got called for it twice.
And Jesse, this was a point of emphasis when we set up the night in terms of the left side of Alabama's offensive line. Caden Proctor, who's likely going to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. He's injured, he's out, so they have shifted things on that left side. Gino goes up to left guard. Tyler Booker kicks out to left tackle, and we've already seen a couple penalties. 2nd and 17. Milroe with time, drives the ball complete to Bernard, and that's a first down, Alabama.
Really nice job in timing. Jalen Milroe takes a hitch, and the ball comes out right away. There was no hesitation on the throw. Beautiful timing. We've seen the Washington transfer, Jeremy Bernard. He's done some damage over the middle of the field in this game.
First down throw, Milroe going to the other side. That's well to the outside of Bernard.
I think what Alabama needs to do is they need to run the ball. Alabama needs to do it conventionally. Turn around and hand off to running back. So far, it's been all Milroe. We saw Bernard with the one reverse, but Justice Haynes and Jam Miller, these guys have to be able to go to work between the tackles, and really that falls on the guys up front, having to get some push. You know South Florida's going to blitz you, but you can gash it with the talent they have at the running back position. Look for them to be able to run the ball a bit more here as the game goes on.
Miller only has 7 yards. Haynes only has 6 yards rushing. Milroe pressured, escapes, pass downfield as a flag is down. He gets it complete to Bernard, but I think they're going to walk this back based on what we saw. It seemed obvious it was holding.
Offense number 55. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Second down.
It's Decarius Hawthorne for South Florida working on the right side. You'll see against the tackle Wilkham Formby, and he just gets beat inside and tries to hook the arm. And man, right now Alabama's O-line, they're getting whipped in pass protection and in run blocking. They're not playing by the rules, and it's just putting them in impossible down and distances for Kalen DeBoer in this offense.
Coach DeBoer's team, 5 penalties for 45 yards. The absence of Caden Proctor showing up. Second and 20. Milroe hit as he throws, and that goes incomplete as there was pressure off the edge, and Milroe is slow to get up as Banks was coming in on him, and that is the last thing that Alabama fans want to see, is a struggling Jalen Milroe physically.
Well, this is exactly what USF did a year ago, right? They're bringing DBs. You're fighting speed with speed. You're fighting fire with fire, and look how they disguise it. Banks looked like he was going to be in coverage. He wasn't creeping toward the line of scrimmage. Nobody from the offensive line or running back knew he was coming.
Foul. Now fourth down.
They're going to take a look at this, I think, for roughing the passer potentially for the hit at Jalen Milroe's knees. That easily could have been a roughing the passer call, I think. You saw Jalen Milroe was grabbing onto his leg after he got rid of the ball. That's what Kalen DeBoer wants. He's angry on the sideline.
So 3rd and 28. Milroe brought down again. Jason Vaughn with the sack.
Jason Vaughn missed last season with a knee injury, missed the first game against Bethune-Cookman with the foot, but they think he could be their alpha pass rusher, and he just smoked Wilkin Formby at right tackle on his way into the quarterback. Coming off the right side here, one-on-one, it's not even close. And Wilkin Formby, he's had his hands full in this game so far. Remember, he's replacing J.C. Latham, who was the 7th pick of the draft last year, but he's got to play better.
Atkins with the fair catch just beyond midfield. Alabama just went 5 plays for minus 13 yards, Matt Berry.
Jess and Tess, it hasn't been a great start for the Tide as we bring you our all-state check-in. Here's some good highlights for you, starting with Nebraska and Colorado. Tommy Hill, pick 6 of Shador. Maybe the easiest touchdown he's ever had in his life. Right now it is 14-0 Nebraska. You guys familiar with the true freshman from Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith? If you don't know, now you know. 72 yards after a great performance a week ago. Buckeyes up 14-0. Fellas?
Some serious acceleration there in Columbus. Good field position to start this drive for the Bulls. Brown gets it quickly to the outside to Michael Brown-Stevens.
Joe, for a lot of young receivers watching this game, watch South Florida's receivers come back down the stem when they run these curl routes. They're able to keep separation from the DBs and make life a lot easier on Byron Brown. There's a perfect example there by Brown-Stevens.
6-yard reception for Brown-Stevens. Byron Brown with a blocker in front. It's another first down. He is such a capable runner.
Alabama doesn't have any answers for the zone read. They've got D linemen crashing down to take the running back, but nobody's replacing them on the outside, and it's just making it an easy keep read for Byron Brown.
Another first down, play action. Brown, he's going to pump and then slide down.
And decisively too, Joe. Not open right away. You're not wasting any time. You just get upfield and get what you can get.
A lot of people in the green and gold who do believe right now, as the sign said. 2nd down and 8. A bullish start for USF. Brown, delayed quarterback run. Breaks a tackle, has another first down. A tug of the jersey was the effort defensively, and he goes ahead for 5 more yards. A 16-yard run.
And it's just counting the box. Alabama only had 4 guys in the box that time. South Florida has 5 blockers, so that's a design QB draw. You see the 230-pound QB, tough to bring down.
Here he goes again, and look at the hole he's got. He lowers a shoulder, and it's 1st and goal, South Florida.
Man, he's going to need an ice bath after this game. I think he's already got 11 or 12 carries. He's going to be bruised, but it's all worth it right now because this South Florida offense, they are humming.
Bobbled that, had a jump on it. So the lone miscue stalls momentum for a moment. As Byron Brown had a jump on it, he has 82 yards rushing going into that play.
That's amazing. He had 92, you said, right, Joe?
That's right.
Last year in the entire game. Shouldering a heavy workload today.
82 yards rushing in this first half against this talented front 7 of Alabama. 2nd and goal. Brown weaving his way again. And that extra muscle down inside the 7-yard line. It'll be 3rd and goal from there.
This is where it's the hardest to throw the ball to, Joe. Down in the red zone, the windows are tight, they're small, they close really quickly. So we were talking about this improved receiving group of USF. Who can separate and create a little bit of space to give Byron Brown an opportunity in this critical area of the field?
2nd straight drive for USF into Bama territory. Can they come up with points this time? Can they take the lead against number 4 Bama? 3rd and goal. Brown with time, but does he have an option? To the end zone, incomplete. He was looking for Singletary. He overthrows it.
So Alex Golish, who opted to punt on the last drive when they were sort of in no man's land to play field position, now looks like he's being a little bit more aggressive in this area of the field. 4th down. And now the field goal unit comes out. He thought about it long and hard. With the way his defense is playing right now, Joe, I like the decision. Just take the points.
Right now, USF has 143 total yards, and they've held Bama to 75. And this 8-play drive, thanks to the wheels of Byron Brown, could be capped with a John Cannon short 25-yard field goal. And a timeout is going to be used by Golish and the Bulls. Byron Brown with 88 for South Florida. Now Derek Cates to snap, Ryan Bolda to hold, and an opportunity for John Cannon to pull South Florida to within one of the 4th ranked team in the country. 25-yard field goal attempt for Cannon, as he does just that. And it is a 7-6 game here in Tuscaloosa. Jesse, I'll tell you, Byron Brown is very impressive, and can he ever run the ball?
Yeah, and the crazy part is too, some of it is finesse, zone read runs to the outside, and you're seeing how nimble his feet can be, but a lot of it's right up the middle, Joe. You've seen quarterback draw, you've seen quarterback power. He's not only getting tackled by DBs, I mean, he's taking on linebackers, he's dragging D linemen with them. This has been a heavy, heavy workload early in this game. Now, throwing the football, it hasn't quite been on target as much, but with the way he's running it right now, I guess the question is just how long can he keep this up, taking this kind of abuse? I guess the answer for Alex Golish and the coaching staff is as long as it takes, right?
And you're also seeing him just finish his runs and getting extra yardage. You know, we talked to those around the program. They'll tell you this guy added 20 pounds of muscle this offseason.
Yeah, and it's really showing up. I think that also gives him a little bit more confidence as well. When these run plays get called up the middle, even though you're going up against an Alabama defense with all this NFL talent in their front seven, he's willing to do whatever it's going to take to walk out at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium with a win.
Katie?
Yeah, Tess, in between series over here on Alabama's sideline, sophomore running back Justice Haynes got all over his offensive lineman. He said, we have to be better in protection. I'm tired of messing around out there. Pick it up on this next series.
Yeah, Katie, they got to be better in protection. They also got to stop having penalties because they've been setting up in 2nd and 3rd and long situations. They don't even have the opportunity to turn around and just hand it off to Haynes or Jam Miller.
6 penalties, Jess.
Not
for
good.
Alabama.
Not
We're still
good.
9:45 before we get to Matt, Joey, and Dan in the studio. Haynes doesn't find anything, struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that time Parker Brailsford center and their left guard Vandemark, they just couldn't get any movement. As you take a look at the bounce right now, they're not getting any.
So he fired the tackle, the safety coming around to make that tackle. Milroe on 2nd down, looks right, shifts back left, gonna launch it downfield as the flag is down, as he gets it into the hands of Kobe Prentice with coverage draped all over him by Ward. And a flag is down at the end of the play as well. So there's a flag at one 20-yard line and the other 20-yard line.
Not going to believe this, Joe, but I think it might be the right tackle, Wilkin Formby.
Oh, boy. The struggles of this offensive line early on. See Formby there, his first season as starter. Highly touted recruit a couple years ago.
Both live ball against both teams. Pass interference, defense number 2, holding, offense number 75. Those fouls all set, we'll repeat the down.
I think at this point, if you're Alabama and you're Kalen DeBoer, you've got to start tweaking your protections to help out the right tackle. You see him right here, 75, and he's working one-on-one against Dacarius Hawthorne again. On the other side, here's the pass interference down the field by Tavin Ward. But for Alabama, whether it's keeping a running back in to chip the edge or attaching a tight end outside your right tackle like they're doing right now with Robbie Oots.
Well, Oots is built for that.
Yeah,
he's 6'4", 270.
He's like an extra offensive lineman. It's not a bad idea to just help protect the right side.
Right now you see a 7-man protection. With Dupree attached as well. They keep it on the ground with Haynes. Haynes keeps his footing and gets it out to the 30-yard line.
And Haynes is a good player. This is a guy that was the number 2 rated running back coming out of high school last season. He added 25 pounds, but he didn't lose his speed. And you saw that with his 85-yard touchdown run last week against Western Kentucky. He's a guy that you can force feed the football to and wear this defense down, but you can't do it when you're living in 2nd and 3rd and long all game.
3rd down and 5. Milroe pressured, steps up in the pocket, quickly gets it out and gets it complete to C.J. Dupree for a tied 1st down.
They were screaming off the edge again. That time Tyler Booker was struggling out at left tackle. And it forced Jalen Milroe to just have to step up a bit. The pressure's coming this way. He's going to step up, but he keeps his eye focused downfield, and that's critical on this one. I think that Jalen Milroe from a year ago would have just taken off and run. This time, he's able to spot his tight end out on the left side. Gets an easy completion to Dupree.
And you know, it's because he can. But if you want to evolve, you also have that option. But he's good enough to always do that with his legs. Short pitch to Haynes into the boundary, and he is undercut.
Well, and that's a great point, too, Joe, because last year Jalen Milroe took 44 sacks.
Right.
And I think a lot of that was him just always trying to make a play instead of throwing it away or throwing a check down to live to play another day. And I think Kalen DeBoer and this coaching staff have seen examples early this season of him finding a 3rd receiver, finding a check down, letting the offense work for you like he did on that last completion to Dupree.
So after the good defensive play by the corner, Deshaun Rucker, 2nd down and 10. Milroe. Easy pitch and catch with Prentice, and a 1st down. Alabama past midfield to the 40-yard line.
I love the play call because they're moving the launch point now for Jalen Milroe and getting him outside. He also had a defender bearing down on him. He did a really nice job at just quickly getting his feet underneath him to help deliver this throw. You're going to see Milroe after the fake. He's going to roll out to his right. Prentice working the sideline. See him right here? Just kind of a little bit of a pitter-patter just to get his feet underneath him to help deliver that. Prentice does a nice job coming back to the ball.
18-yard reception for Prentice. Quickly gets it to Bernard. And Bernard, look at him weave upfield and spin for 8.5 yards, tackled by Harris.
Yeah, and a good idea too, right? With all these blitzes that they've been seeing in the game, let's just get away from the middle of the field, spit it outside quickly, and let our athletes go to work in space.
Flag pre-snap as there was more movement.
False start, offense number 56.
Man.
5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
It is going to be a rough film session.
It is.
For Wilkin Formby and Gino Vandemark.
It's going to be a rough halftime.
Yeah, I think
Forget the film session.
I mean, Coach Saban may want to go down there and have a little talk with some of these guys himself because the penalties up front, I mean, that's been the story for Alabama's offense in this game.
Yeah, the stuff you can control it. 2nd and 7. Milroe, pressure off the edge, lofts it downfield inside the 10 and off the fingertips of the sensational freshman Ryan Williams, and another flag is down. That where Rucker was contending with him. There is Deshaun Rucker.
Pass interference, defense number 22. 59 penalty, previous foul. Coming out of 4th down.
Rucker, the transfer from Tennessee, Jesse.
Yeah, one-on-one against a very fast 17-year-old. You see some hand fighting there, and Ryan Williams has actually grabbed Rucker's jersey himself. I don't know if he pushed off at all, but he definitely grabbed. Here's the DB pressure that we've been talking about. Free rusher Jalen Milroe knew he had to get rid of that quickly. It's just not been easy for Jalen Milroe from a timing standpoint because of all these blitzes that they've seen.
1st down after the penalty. Jam Miller straight ahead.
I love the patience that time. Alabama's pulling their left guard, their left tackle. This is going to take a second for the hole to develop, and Miller is just able to kind of stutter step. All of a sudden the C part's right in front of him. He shows you his speed and acceleration.
Second and 4. Miller again, and a first down, Alabama. Petway came up with the tackle.
Well, this is where you have to do this, right? When the windows are small and hard to throw into, the best red zone offenses are the one that can run the ball. And that time, Parker Brailsford, the transfer from Washington at center, did a nice job getting into the second level.
Rashad Cheney is down. The big run-plugging defensive tackle. Here's Jam Miller. And Miller fights his way inside the 5-yard line.
This Alabama offensive line is starting to assert themselves a little bit. They're getting a lot more push, and they're working their double teams, and guys are peeling off and getting up to the linebacker level. And this is the best Alabama has looked this in games so far, just turning around and handing it off.
Second down and 4. Miller remains in, flanking Milroe. Going to get the work again, but he was met. That was a very good run fit that time by Mac Harris. He has been active in this first.
Yeah, and he's kind of built for this game. He's so fast, and he's able to just shoot downhill. And against this kind of offense with this much athleticism at quarterback, he kind of fits the mold perfectly. That's the guy they miss, is Jalen Shuler.
He had 11 tackles last year against Alabama.
In this game.
Yes, 11 tackles against Bama.
And it's amazing they're playing as well as they are in this one without number 7.
Third down and 4. Milroe is going to try to run it himself. A lot of traffic, but he breaks free. Jalen Milroe. A 5-yard touchdown run. His second of the night. There are times you watch him do his thing, and you sit around and you say, man, the best running back out here in T-Town, you got some good ones, but the way this guy runs, my oh my, Jess.
Well, USF brought a zero blitz pressure, and Justice Haynes at running back got a piece of Jamie Petway at linebacker. Coming up the middle, right here, there was one guy free. It was Tawfiq Bayard, but he just couldn't get it done in the backfield. He's the guy that needed to make the tackle. Jalen Milroe just too quick and too strong.
Touchdown of the night, as everybody back at the Ainsworth in Manhattan breathing a little easier as they watch along.
That was an old neighborhood haunt of mine, living in the Flatiron.
That's the Bama watch party in New York, 14-6. Hey, tomorrow on ABC, you got an American in the finals of the U.S. Open, the men's championship. Taylor Fritz takes on the number 1 seed, the Italian, Yannick Sinner. Coverage begins with the men's preview show at 1 p.m.
You and I were watching Sabalenka.
Oh, she is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
But great run by Pegula.
Phenomenal.
Great run by Jesse.
Tremendous run by her. Sabalenka is just, her ground game from the baseline is just incredible. Passing shots, forehand, backhand side. Mixing it with a little college football today.
No doubt. Let's talk about the Manhattan bar scene and the restaurants. The U.S. Open this week. Naquan Wright can't find anything. Via della Pace, that is the spot for the Italian tennis players, my friend.
I like it. This is a big drive here for Alabama's defense. About 3 minutes and 20 seconds left, but they've got 3 timeouts. If they can get off the field quickly, give it back to Jalen Milroe, they've got a chance to march the field, score points before receiving first in the third quarter.
Here's Naquan Wright as he's tackled by Rousseau.
So here, if you're Alabama now, you've got to stay in your pass rush lanes. You have to have integrity with Byron Brown. He's proven on third down that he's going to take off. If a guy's not open right away, he's gone. Alabama, they really have to just build a wall, create that fence around him, and keep him in.
See the intensity in the eyes of Rousseau. Pressure on Brown. That's incomplete. It was good coverage that time by Malachi Moore against Peyton Singletary.
How about Malachi Moore, a fifth-year senior, started in Alabama as a true freshman. They move him to strong safety this year, a position Caleb Downs played a season ago. And that's exactly what Alabama's defense needed to do. Not a lot of time came off the clock. 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go now. All 3 timeouts. New rule in college football this year. There's also the 2-minute timeout. So there's tons of time here for Jalen Milroe in this offense to score points.
Boy, and Alabama's lucky that Moore passed on the NFL draft. And Stokes drives this outside the numbers where Adams fields it. Katie?
You know, Tess, Malachi Moore, great safety, even better person. He's using his NIL earnings to pay for his younger brother, Aiden's college tuition here at the University of Alabama. Aiden's on the team. He's a walk-on freshman linebacker and has the opportunity to spend time with his older brother and play 1 season with him, all thanks to Malachi's NIL deals.
Yeah, and Katie, you know, we had a wonderful visit with Malachi yesterday. He's the guy that you want representing the program, and he's just a wonderful young man, a grad student. He's going to be cashing NFL pay. Forget these NIL paychecks. He's going to have an NFL paycheck for about a decade.
It also just goes to show you how well he's doing in his NIL, because tuition here at Alabama ain't cheap.
No, admission has become very selective as the years have gone on, and that's thanks to the guy who's going to be honored at halftime with the dedication of this field. Milroe wants a shot downfield, and it's beyond Ryan Williams. Remember, a week ago, Ryan Williams had 2 catches for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns, so they're testing that secondary.
That's like the 3rd or 4th time they've tried to go deep to him. There, Paco Austin right in his hip pocket again. South Florida man coverage, pressing, and they've got their corners on islands one-on-one with a very gifted and talented 17-year-old wide receiver who should still be in high school, by the way. But on the back end, so far, USF's done a pretty good job.
Our rules expert, Matt Austin, longtime SEC official, said that could have been PI there. Here's Milroe utilizing the blocks. Jalen Milroe, good luck catching him. Roll Tide. Flag is down, way back. We'll see about that. But the explosiveness of Jalen Milroe caught that seam and danced, my friend. It's Formby again. Yeah, coach, shake the head.
God. There's a bit of a face mask against Jason Vaughn. He also grabbed his jersey right here. It's pretty straightforward. Just has his hands up in his face and just tugs on the jersey a little bit too long there, and it's just too obvious. Time and time again, I mean, the coaching staff for Alabama right now just cannot believe it. And in an opportunity to take another 7 points, pad the lead, and then get a chance to double that going in the 3rd quarter, it's the 4th O-line holding and the 3rd enforced. The penalties have got to stop.
That shot of Coach Saban with the arms folded. We've seen that through the years. He's not coaching the game. He's about to be honored, but we know what that look is. So it comes all the way back. Haynes. He's going to be tackled for a loss against this aggressive defense as Hawthorne makes the tackle. Remember, one of the big stories heading into this game, Caden Proctor injured, the star left tackle. So they decided to take Tyler Booker, shift to that. I mean, Texas looked awesome today. 3rd and 26 as Milroe just quickly gets it out to Cuevas, who gets to the 15-yard line. Bama's going to receive the second half kickoff. We've got 1:50 to go. We have a South Florida player, I believe it's Tavin Ward, who is reaching for his shoulder, so the medical staff is out to see him. Boy, that big Jalen Milroe run that got called back with the penalty.
And then that's the frustrating part for Alabama. When you have an athlete as special as Jalen Milroe, you're just one play away from hitting the big one, right? At any given time. And it looked like they had it a few plays ago, but 7 different penalties now called on this Alabama offensive line. 4 holdings, 3 enforced. They had 3 false starts as well. And Milroe's talking to Kalen DeBoer, and DeBoer saying, you know, if we just could get out of our own way, we'd be fine. We'd be lighting up this scoreboard, but this offensive line that we've talked about, they've had to reshuffle because of an injury to Caden Proctor. 7 penalties, 45 yards. They're their own worst enemy in this game.
They are. Been sacked a couple times for negative 18 yards. Now a 4th down here with 1:50. Matt Austin says expect a 10-second runoff here because we're
Andrew stopped the clock, and was the only reason the clock stopped. There'll be a 10-second subtraction from the game clock. By rule, the clock will start and ready for play.
So now if you're South Florida, Joe, you've got a timeout in your back pocket.
You do.
And you're going to get good field position, and you're running a crazy fast tempo offense.
Yeah, where time is not usually a concern for the way they go about things.
Right. I mean, they would love to cut into this lead at minimum here going in at halftime.
Caden Proctor, 6'7", 369 pounds. The big-time NFL prospect who's dealing with the injured shoulder and out of action at left tackle for Bama. So Burnip on to punt with his heels on the 1-yard line. Could be great field position for South Florida. Chad Creamer's the special teams coordinator. We'll see if his group can set up a return for Sean Atkins. There is Atkins, the veteran receiver, a very reliable return man, as Bama's going to bleed down the clock. And Burnip is going to send a tumbler downfield to the 44-yard line, where Atkins will field it from them. Get a couple of yards in the return game, and they're just going to be just short of midfield. Joe, Lisa, and Laura out there in the Bay Area for Monday Night Football. Brown. That is incomplete to the outside. Atkins was well covered by Sabb.
And right now, Alabama defensively is using a spy against Byron Brown. That time it was Q Robinson. Normally plays defensive end or rushes off the edge. That time he's just lined up a yard behind the line of scrimmage, and he's just mirroring Byron Brown. If he takes off and running, they're trying to have an answer for him.
Brown going to get it to Keith, and Keith is wrestled down by Q Robinson.
Great job there sniffing out the screen by Robinson. He was stunning inside to go on a pass rush, but he got his eyes up quickly and recognized what was happening, and then used his speed to get outside a tackle.
3rd and 7, coming up on a half minute to play. 1 timeout. Flag is down as there was movement, Jesse. Expect another 10 seconds to run off that clock based on this.
But he can use his timeout to prevent the 10-second run.
He can.
If he does have that at his disposal, which you'd want to do here in this 2-minute type situation.
South Florida's just 1 of 8 on 3rd downs in this first half.
Full start. Offense number 62. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down. Alabama will take a timeout to avoid the 10-second subtraction.
I think he meant to say
Clock will
USF.
start when the ball is legally snapped.
Remember, coming up at the half, it'll be the dedication of Saban Field here at the famed Bryant-Denny Stadium. You win 6 national championships at a place, they're going to name something after you. How about the field?
Yeah, it's got a good ring to it too, doesn't it? Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's the least you could do for the guy after 6 national championships. 9 SEC championships.
Think about all that. You and I have been working together in college football since 2007, right?
Yeah,
We've been coming down here for many years, various shows and games and spring ball and everything. This town, but this university has grown. I know yesterday you drove around town. It has grown, and a lot of it has to do with this man who's about to be on.
Absolutely. And enrollment has grown. The funding has grown. The facilities are better. You know what the amazing thing to me is, Joe? Nick Saban coached 117 games here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. He won 108 of them. That's crazy.
Incredible. Truly incredible. It's going to be 3rd down and 12 for South Florida, having exhausted their timeouts. Byron Brown, 4-man rush against Brown. Goes with a shallow cross underneath, and forced out of bounds is Josh Porter, the true freshman.
Well, good awareness by the true freshman Porter to get out of bounds, right? Not turn it up, try to make something happen, be a hero, make a dude miss, see if I can score and be on Sports Center. Get out of bounds, stop the clock. Big 4th and 3 now. You really got to think about this because you're basically at midfield if you're Alex Golesh. If you don't get this, Jalen Milroe comes back out. He's got all 3 timeouts.
Yeah, 3 timeouts remaining for Alabama. So this could be a very big swing play to close out this first half. 4th down and 3, and a timeout will be used by Coach DeBoer to talk things over defensively. Coach DeBoer, of course, the great run at Washington, Pac-12 champs, the Sugar Bowl champs with the CFP win over Texas, and then the run to the national championship where they lost to Michigan. The most wins in school history, 14 wins at Washington.
Isn't it amazing, right? I mean, you lose Nick Saban, everybody says, well, he's no Nick Saban. Well, nobody is. Saban's the GOAT.
Nobody ever will be.
No, but all this guy has done is win anywhere he's gone, anywhere he's been the head coach. He's won 90% of the games he's been the head coach.
You look down at his coaching list there, and it doesn't even go back to when he was NAIA head coach, winning 3 national titles at Sioux Falls. When Nick Saban took this job, this guy was coaching at Sioux Falls College, NAIA, and he has been on an unbelievable ascent as a quarterback developer, a play caller, then a head coach at Fresno State, Washington State, and now here at the ultimate blue blood, Alabama. So off the Alabama timeout, 4th down and 3. Tighter formation for Byron Brown on 4th and 3.
I wonder if they're just trying to see if they can get Alabama to jump off sides.
We did this earlier. It didn't work out.
Didn't work out.
And that is exactly the case.
5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Well, I think if you're Kalen DeBoer, you like the way your defense is settled down. You gave up a field goal on the first drive. Since that point, though, you've kind of found your bearings a little bit. Offensively, going into halftime now, they've got to get these penalty issues up front sorted out. If they can do that, they can be up and down the field.
Cole Adams, Mr. Reliable. The punt returner, Andrew Stokes, the 30-year-old from Australia, as he takes a sweet time rolling before he sends the knuckler high into the sky, and it takes a very good South Florida bounce and trails out at the 10-yard line. But that South Florida defense has done their job.
It's what Todd Orlando does as a play caller. Brings pressure. Linebackers right up the middle. Alabama, it's well documented. They're having problems at right tackle with Formby right now, but fighting fire with fire. Smaller, faster guys getting in the backfield to chase a very fast quarterback in Jalen Milroe. They've got 2 sacks. They've got a bunch of pressure. 38% of the dropbacks. I mean, this game plan for Todd Orlando and USF, they had success a year ago doing the exact same thing, and they're having success again tonight.
Bama's going to take a knee. They're going to receive the second half kickoff. They finished the first half with 137 total yards. It was 158 for South Florida, just 137 total yards for Alabama. Jalen Milroe with a couple of touchdown runs, but really the big story has been elsewhere as K-Law, Kendrick Law on the return, and watch out. Ball comes out, and it is recovered by Gramatica. Kendrick Law fumbles it, and young Nico Gramatica, the true freshman son of Martin Gramatica, the Super Bowl champion from the Buccaneers 20-plus years ago, gets the recovery.
It's such a great play by Ben Knox, number 1 for South Florida there. He's the one that punches it out, and how about Nico Gramatica? Johnny on the spot. That looked like that was going to be an incredible return by Kendrick Law, setting up Jalen Milroe at midfield, and South Florida steals a possession on the opening kick of the second half.
I was just about to turn to you and say all the miscues by Alabama, the penalties, everything, sloppy football, and then they open up the second half with a turnover as he quickly gets it to right. That's the first turnover of the game.
That should have been a face mask right there.
You're right.
Todd Campbell.
There's the flag that's down.
I mean, another penalty now. They had 8 for 60 in the first half. And everything going sideways here in the first 2 plays for Bama.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 11. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic first down.
See Jahad Campbell there just getting a tug there on the helmet. You don't actually have to grab the face mask and twist it. It's just twisting the helmet at any point.
Jesse, it's 9 penalties for 75 yards.
It's too sloppy. And you know, Joe, that's something Kalen DeBoer addressed with his team at halftime. You just got to cut out the mental mistakes. Just get out of your own way.
South Florida, just a 1-possession game. Brown, oh, he had his man right as well, but he overthrew it.
Yeah, he's missed a couple. We saw early in the game, he missed Michael Brown-Stevens on a deep shot that would have been a touchdown. And that time there, he just needed a little bit less arm. Naquan Wright, 5'9". He's not the biggest running back. And when you're throwing to running backs, you really have to be accurate and put it on their body.
Here's Wright. As he spins his way down for the 31. Russaw with the tackle. They need some noise. They need some rally here. They open up the second half with a turnover. Brown on 3rd and 7. Pressured and taken down. They had a meeting at Byron Brown's schedule, did the front 7. Tim Smith was wrapping around, as were others to get to Brown.
Yeah, Tim Smith was the one who applied the pressure, and Jahad Campbell, who had the face mask call a few plays ago, he was able to clean it up. That is a great job by Bama's defense there in a sudden change situation after the turnover and a face mask of just winning 3 straight downs and now setting up a bomb of a kick here for John Cannon.
He hit from 53 last week. That was the 3rd longest in USF history. As this officially will be that same distance for John Cannon. Does he have enough? No, he comes up well short. So they can't take advantage of the turnover on the kickoff return, but those miscues time and again, Jesse.
We talked about the penalties, Joe. 7 of them have come up front on the offensive line. First it was Vandermark right here getting a holding penalty, which brings back Justin Haynes' touchdown. And then we talked about the struggles Formby's had at right tackle. This one here was an easy call. This one here negated a big pass interference penalty that would have been big for Alabama, and then none bigger than a long touchdown by Jalen Milroe called back too. A lot of it is mental mistakes, and I think for Alabama, particularly Joe up front on the offensive line, it really just comes down to fundamentals. It comes down to technique, and you just got to clean that up.
Here's Milroe with time to crank it up and take a shot. And it goes incomplete, but looking for Ryan Williams. By the way, get used to saying that name, Ryan Williams. He's only 17 years old. And you talk to everybody around the program, Jesse, and says sky's the limit for his future.
I got to give Rucker credit. I mean, they've been fighting. They've been going at it. The transfer for Tennessee, he's been winning as many of these battles. The crowd's booing. The crowd may want... He's the player down now. It's Rucker himself.
The cornerback.
That's why you're hearing the displeasure from the Alabama.
You know, it's interesting. Listen, if you go back and you watch the tape from last week, Ryan Williams, he had 2 catches for 139 yards, 2 incredible touchdowns. I mean, just a dynamic game changer. Yesterday, we're sitting around over at the Alabama offices. Malachi Moore, who's one of the veteran guys, he's seen them all come through here through the years. And we turn to Malachi, we go, all right, how good is the young kid? He said, listen, he made a play over the summer. He made another one. He made another. Then you start realizing that's who he is. He's going to be something special.
Devontae Smith, Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley, Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, the list goes on and on and on. The echelon of great Bama receivers is finite, but they really do believe this young 17-year-old one day will be part of that group. He just has things you can't coach in terms of the fluidity and how he runs, how he plucks the ball out of the air, the speed. We've seen him get behind South Florida a couple times tonight. They haven't been able to connect yet. You kind of get the feel like maybe, Katie, it's just a matter of time before this young true freshman goes off.
Yeah, I think he's such an exciting player. But you guys, I was speaking with Alex Golish as he came out of the locker room, and he told me he thinks his defense has done a phenomenal job this far. He said, we're affecting the quarterback, we're stopping the run, but we got to be able to get off the field on third down. And then offensively, he said, we're moving the ball well in spurts, but he told his guys, somebody's got to make a play. Don't press, don't try to be extraordinary, but somebody's got to make a big play.
It'll be 2nd and 10. After that went incomplete. See Justice Haynes in the backfield with Milroe. And this is Milroe in design quarterback run. And as they bottle him up at the 39-yard line.
To go back and touch on this secondary from USF, last year they really struggled. They gave up 289 passing yards a game, which was 5th worst in the country. They've got 4 different starters now in the back end. 3 come in from the portal. Tavin Ward changes position, and in this game, you've seen them covering deep. Jalen Milroe has gone deep 7 times in this game. They have not given up 1 completion. They've had a couple of PIs, but they've been able to kind of limit the bleeding.
3rd down and 6 for Milroe. Pressure comes up the middle. He backs all the way up inside the 20 and is taken down there by Mac Harris. Another big play from Harris.
Well, there's a huge stunt up front. Lots of movement by USF. And this is a place that I think Jalen Milroe has to get better. He has to know when the play is over and how to throw this thing away. You've got Rico Watson's going to be looping in. Mac Harris flying downhill. And there's just nowhere to go with Jalen Milroe with this football. And right now, either you break contain, throw that thing out of bounds across the line of scrimmage. You just can't keep taking negative plays like that.
Todd Orlando's defense has 3 sacks against Bama. Burnham with the punt. Atkins with a poison call. Look at this bounce it takes for South Florida. A big sack moments ago. But even play in that game. This team was focused, seemingly wired the right way this week, ready to take on this challenge of a confident group from South Florida, but the miscues, the penalties, the sloppiness, and thus a 1-possession game. And Byron Brown, as he is driven down by Tim Smith.
And there's this misconception that because USF goes fast and they spread you out, they're an air raid offense. They're not. They actually run the ball 46% of the time, and they do it with 4 guys. They got a 3-man rotation at running back, and Byron Brown already 14 carries.
Here's Brown. He's trying to throw back to Kelly Joyner, but that was incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 9.
You know, screens like that and quick bubbles to the outside really for them, I think, are an extension of their run game too. It's going to be hard to just line up and go between the tackles. So here's a moment for Alabama on 3rd down. Quay Rusaw, number 4, is a guy that really emerged last week against Western Kentucky. He's a guy that has a lot of bend and freak athleticism coming off the edge to the right-hand side.
Former 5-star recruit. 3rd down and 9. And incomplete as Joyner could not corral it out of the backfield. They're 1 of 11 on 3rd downs as USF.
And again, Joe, it's a throw you've got to make if you're Brown, because you've got your running back one-on-one against a 280-pound defensive end, LT Overton. If you just put that on his face mask, let him catch it and advance it, it's going to be a 1st down. There's a zone blitz and Overton's dropping out. I think I've counted 3 big misses so far by Byron Brown in this game. Throws he'd like to have back, but you don't get those chances often against a defense as good as Alabama.
It's the 4th time, Jesse, that South Florida has had a 3-and-out as Stokes punts it away. Penalties down at the 46-yard line as this goes into the end zone. We'll check on the penalty flag there. Jalen Milroe with 2 touchdown runs tonight. Got 10 completions for 100 yards, but he's been sacked 3 times.
Illegal formation, offense, more than 4 players lined in the backfield. The 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the return. 1st down.
Our Aflac trivia question focuses on that man, the 49-year-old Coach DeBoer, new head coach at Alabama, who's won 26 games since the start of 2022. Where do you think that ranks among major college football coaches? 26 wins since the start of the 2022 season for Coach DeBoer.
I mean, we know the guy in Athens has won a lot.
He's won a lot.
Kirby Smart's won a lot of games in that time.
The former guy here's won a lot.
Former guy here's won.
Guy up in Columbus has won a lot. There's Milroe back to business. Jam Miller. I'll tell you, they're struggling to run the ball, is Bama. The Aflac trivia answer, you knew it. Kirby Smart had 29 wins. So DeBoer, Jesse?
Yeah, second. Behind Kirby Smart.
That's right. So average yards per rush. Bama's under a yard per rush. 2nd and 9. Miller.
Oh,
ball came out. Ball is out. And South Florida looks to have recovered it.
It was Mac Harris at linebacker screaming sideline to sideline.
And they got it.
Wow.
Tevin Ward is on top of it.
Mac Harris has had such a monster game for the Bulls defensively. We've seen him blitzing, getting pressure on Jalen Milroe. We talked about the speed he has, chasing Jam Miller down, knocking this ball free. That's what you call a country fumble out there in the open grass. Just who wants it? Tevin Ward jumping on top of it. 2 big fumble recoveries here in the 3rd quarter for South Florida. They've got to do something with this field position, Joe. They couldn't do it after they recovered on the kickoff return. Sitting inside the 40-yard line now, they've got to come away with points.
And the officials are looking to confirm that this is a recovery. Let's bring our rules expert, Matt Austin. Matt?
Yeah, Joe, I don't think there's any question that it's definitely a fumble by the Alabama running back, but did they actually gain firm control before they touched the sideline over there? And I think that's what the replay official's looking at.
Let's see if we have firm control before they hit the sideline. There's Tevin Ward. Now listen, Matt, I'll ask you this, much like when we talk about the completion of a catch, but you have to be able to see the firm control, because then all of a sudden he gets rolled up by multiple players. And it is a fumble recovery and a first down after the turnover, South Florida, as they take over at the 39-yard line of Alabama. Brown, he gets that ball complete as that goes to Abdur-Rahman Yassin.
And that wasn't easy either, because he had Jihad Campbell blitzing and was right in his face, but Brown's big at 6'3". He was able to stand in there and deliver the completion. 13
yards there. Here goes Brown on the quarterback run, but he doesn't find anything with Damon Payne making the tackle.
I mean, he's dragging a 313-pound guy forward, Joe. You mentioned it earlier. He always seems to fall forward when he's running with the ball, and the extra 20 pounds that he gained this offseason is going to good use in this game.
You've seen finishing runs. 2nd and 7. Keith straight ahead. He spins and rolls over a defender, and based on that mark, it's a first down, South Florida.
And I think that's been South Florida's best conventional run, the outside zone to the right that's been allowing these running backs to cut it back.
Brown cuts back himself and drives inside the 5. It is 1st and goal, South Florida, trailing by only 8.
Like, he's one-on-one with one of the best linebackers in the country in Deontay Lawson, and he shakes him.
Straight ahead and straight in to Ron Keith. How about these South Florida Bulls? A fumble recovery by Ward, leading to an offense that's going out there and pushing Bama's defense around all of a sudden. And the offense is staying on the field to try to tie this game. Alex Golesh said, you don't worry about the logo you're playing. Go out there and ball. To tie the game. They're pointing at some movement up front as they were waiting on that snap.
False start, offense 7-0.
That's going to drive Alex Golesh crazy, because South Florida had 7 blockers and Bama only had 6 guys in the box. The numbers were great for a quarterback run that time by Byron Brown. Only 6 dudes in here, and that would have been perfect for one of these inside power runs by the 230-pound quarterback. But the penalty now forces the extra point attempt.
A team that came into this game a 31-point underdog has a 1-point margin against number 4 Alabama here in this rugged third quarter, where they have forced the country with a struggle here at home against South Florida on a day when the number 5 team in the country lost at home. Notre Dame was upset by Northern Illinois, and now here is South Florida. It was a 33.5-point underdog at the time we kicked off. Jesse, our college football rankings are brought to you by Verbo.
Yeah, and we saw some other close ones earlier. Penn State had their hands full with Bowling Green earlier today. We saw Kansas State. Tulane gave them all they wanted. Kansas State barely escaped that as well. And just when you think you got it all figured out in week 2, Joe, chaos just looms large.
And confidence grows the deeper you get into a game like this. You saw Byron Brown huddled off to the side. He has 102 rushing yards against this talented Alabama defense. And now Jalen Milroe in the Tide offense. Haynes. He is tackled at the 28-yard line.
I tell you, forget about penalties. If you're Alabama right now, you just got to hold on to the football. 2 fumbles here already in the third quarter. Ball security has got to be at a premium. And again, Joe, it just goes back to fundamentals, right? It's doing all the things pre-snap, eliminating the penalties, eliminating the miscues. But again, they're just getting in their own way.
Here's Milroe on 2nd and 7. No flag to be seen as Bernard was locked up with Brent Austin. It's going to be 3rd and 7.
There was a lot of contact that time from Deshaun Rucker. I thought that should be PI, and I'm not sure if they felt this ball wasn't catchable, maybe too high, but there's just, that to me is defensive pass interference. Paco Austin got there early, and certainly Kalen DeBoer wants that call.
3rd and 7. They're 2 of 7 on 3rd down. And a timeout is going to be used by the Bulls. There's Todd Orlando, veteran defensive coordinator. You know, last year they really came after Bama. They had 16 pressures. That was the most that any opponent had against Bama. Let's go back to look at what you felt was a pass interference, Jesse, and we'll bring in our longtime SEC official, now our rules expert, Matt Austin. Matty?
Well, the ball was, it looked to me like both players were playing the ball. I do think that there's been some calls earlier tonight that could have been made. In this case, I think the defender is playing the ball. It was high. He jumped. The legs got caught up, and the receiver went down. So in this case, I understand no flag.
Okay. That is Matt's observation.
It was pretty incredible, Joe. You're pointing out a moment ago Todd Orlando and just how aggressive he's been play calling and blitzing Jalen Milroe. There are a lot of D coordinators out there that don't want to blitz him because if one guy gets out of a gap, Jalen Milroe takes off. He has brought pressure play after play after play. In situations like this, 3rd and long, Mac Harris, number 24, who's had a massive game from the inside linebacker spot. He's been everywhere tonight for the Bulls.
Last year, Todd Orlando blitzed 43% of the time against Alabama. Keep in mind, Milroe wasn't in the game then. Here he is now, 3rd and 7, pressure. He escapes it for the moment, backs up to the 14, and then has to throw it away. Good work by Jason Vaughn, the first to get in there, as well as Watson following up.
Yeah, really nice job by Rico Watson, because he's lining up. He's normally a defensive end. He's going to loop all the way from the right side to the left and get the pressure. He starts here, and they're slanting guys, and he's coming all the way around. This defense is just never stationary. They make it so difficult. You got to communicate. He just pushes the running back off of him. Nice job by Milroe to avoid him, but nowhere to go downfield with the ball.
Jesse, that is the 5th Bama 3 and out. Burnett as he skies this. And a fair catch around the 35-yard line by Atkins. Our playbook is brought to you by Modelo, a chance to look at Todd Orlando's Bulls defense.
Yeah, and listen, it's not just blitzing. They've been pretty good in the run game as well. You see getting penetration, playing downhill, and just creating havoc in the backfield. People filling, linebackers playing downhill. Remember, they're playing without their leading tackler from a year ago, Jalen Schuler. So guys have stepped up, and they've made big plays. You've seen the speed that South Florida has, creating all types of problems. But Todd Orlando, the defensive coordinator, man, he is calling a masterpiece. This has been his tour de force, I think, since he's been at South Florida.
Naquan Wright. He was tracked down by Jahad Campbell.
Man, I think if you look at the 3 linebackers Alabama trots out at the start of every game, Jahad Campbell, Deontay Lawson, Quay Rousseau, you'd be hard-pressed to show me a better group of linebackers in the country.
Here's 2nd and 12. Brown to the near side. That's incomplete. Hardiman was trying to come back for it, but it's going to be 3rd and long.
And the thing about these linebackers in this system, in Kane Womack's swarm defense, they can line up at linebacker, they can line up at defensive end. You can put them a yard off the ball to spy Byron Brown. So much you can do with all the speed. You just have so much tremendous versatility, getting after your quarterback and pursuing the football.
Kane Womack, who spent 3 years as a head coach at South Alabama, now the defensive coordinator here for the Tide. And look at that push up the middle by Tim Keenan.
He's 326 pounds. There's only so much you can do. It's just right here. He's going one direction, backwards. That time there's no help for the right guard, mano a mano, and pressure doesn't always have to come off the outside edge. I always felt as a quarterback, Joe, the worst pressure was when it came right up the middle. There's nowhere to go. You can't step into throws. It affects your vision. Really nice job by Tim Keenan.
3rd sack for Bama. 5th 3 and out for USF. Pressure on Stokes as he rolls to the right just enough to get it outside the numbers and safely out of bounds. Let's go to the studio to Matt. What's up, Matt?
Joe Tessitore, I've got your Chick-fil-A move on the field, and you wouldn't believe the world-class beatdown going on against Nebraska and Colorado. Ramir Johnson, tip concentration. It is 28-0. Nebraska started the 3rd quarter in Lincoln. Jesse Tess, back to you.
Huskers rolling against Coach Prime.
Really, Dylan Raiola, too, the true freshman at quarterback. He looks like he's the real deal, doesn't he?
Yes. Justice Haynes kept his balance, got extra yardage.
When Alabama's just been struggling to find any rhythm, whether it's penalties, whether it's turnovers, no drive more than 3 plays in their last 5 times out on the field. No consistency. They haven't been able to get into a rhythm. And Joe, you mentioned this earlier. They've got to be able to run the ball a little bit here to let themselves do that.
2nd and 6. Haynes can't find anything.
I mean, you got to give South Florida credit up front. That time it's Decarius Hawthorne, number 90. He's just not getting moved. He's winning his one-on-one battle outside. Got to be so impressed, I think, with the toughness and the physicality, not just the speed, the toughness of this front 7 for USF.
Only 42 rushing yards for Alabama. Their longest rush today is only 13 yards. 3rd down and 5. There's Milroe on 3rd and 5, being backed up again. Pressure in his face, and he's got to throw it away. That was Petway who was the first to get after him.
Yeah, they were bringing the blitz right up the middle. Bernard Gooden is going to come inside. You got Austin on the outside also swatting in. I mean, it's just too much. You got a running back trying to pick up a 290-pound defensive lineman. It's just not a good matchup in protection for Alabama's offense.
Burnham sends a big knuckler down to the 12-yard line. With the legs of Byron Brown. He's gone for 94 yards rushing.
And the toughness, too, because, you know, we saw some zone read action early. It was giving Bama some problems. But we've seen the up the middle, the run. That, to me, has been the most impressive thing. Lowering his shoulder, taking on defenders, running through linebacker tackles. And Joey's already carried it 17 times. Big physical guy. He is not worn down. You know, their running back rotation is a bunch of smaller dudes, but look at what Byron Brown has done in comparison to what Alabama has done as an offense on the ground.
Here is Brown, and here are his legs, but this time he doesn't have anywhere to go as Lawson finds him.
Yeah, Deontay Lawson's able to get there, and USF's trying to block him with their safety, Mike Lofton, but Lawson's just way too athletic and runs around it.
2nd and 9, quick to the line, as always, tempo. Joyner finds a seam. Kelly Joyner, he's turning it on. Out past midfield. South Florida is in position. Under 5.5 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. And they are going to walk this back.
Holding offense number 70.
Wow. The left tackle, R.J. Perry.
He was out working against Jihad Campbell. He's here. He's going to kind of get up into the 2nd level, try to get a block on Campbell. This thing looked like it was a jailbreak. It was going through. Just a little bit of a tug there. Alabama was the O-line that had issues with it earlier. I mean, that's, and he's looking around too. And I mean, that is that a hold?
Matt Austin, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I didn't see much restriction there. I think the official might have got fooled a little bit because the defender turned sideways, so it looked like he had his hands wrapped around him when he really didn't. So, yeah, there wasn't much there.
He does grab the jersey a little bit there under the armpit of Campbell. I guess by the letter of the law, that's a hold. I guess it didn't seem like
looking in that armpit, but yeah, I mean, listen, when you watch it live, your eyes, Matt's eyes, my eyes, the crowd. I mean,
yeah, seeing that last view with him grabbing the shirt right there in the armpit, I think that's a good call. That definitely was a little bit of restriction. The defender couldn't break away, so that was a good call.
And thus it wipes out the explosive play by South Florida. There's been penalties that have been costly for Alabama all night, but South Florida's had their side of the ledger as well, and that was the costliest.
In these situations, Byron Brown's been missing receivers that have been open. He's got to start getting more accurate throwing the ball.
2nd and 14. This crowd here at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny is getting loud. Joyner patiently looking for something as he works his way out to the 14-yard line, tackled by Q Robinson.
That's a nice little play, Joe, because it does get some of the yardage back and at least helps you out here in this 3rd down situation. We've seen Joyner now rip off a couple nice runs outside to the left, and you just wonder for South Florida, if that's a place in the run game, they'll keep attacking.
This has been a disaster for South Florida. They're 1 for 12 on 3rd down. 3rd down and 7. Can they move the chains? Brown, pressure up the middle. Flag comes in again as he throws it out of bounds and incomplete, looking for Sean Atkins.
No, I mean, the center, Mike Lofton, essentially tackled Big number 96, Tim Keenan for USF.
It's the only way they've been able to stop Keenan tonight.
Offense number 65.
The loop's coming in here. This is where the hold is, right in the middle. Just a little bit late picking it up. And he just takes big Tim Keenan down to the ground.
So Stokes will be punting with his heels in the end zone. 8th punt. Their 6th 3 and out. Takes a bounce past midfield, harmlessly goes out of bounds.
This from the bottom of my heart. You are not playing a logo. You guys understand me? You are playing a one-on-one battle in front of the man in front of you. Over and over and over again. One-on-one. And then you come right back. And then you come right back. And then you come right back. Trust.
That was a message from South Florida head coach Alex Golesh earlier tonight. Jam Miller. Miller bounces to the outside and then lowers his shoulder. Katie.
Yeah, Tess, if Jalen Milroe is frustrated by the lack of offensive production right now, you can't tell it on the sidelines. He's been very stoic. He stays in his lane. He's been watching clips on the iPad, talking to Nick Sheridan on the comms. And look, guys, there's a lot of guys down here who have been frustrated. I've seen multiple helmets being thrown, but Jalen Milroe is not one of them. He's kept his head about him.
Katie, it's a great point. You know, poise sometimes shows a lot of leadership. That's something certainly Jalen Milroe has a ton of, and they're going to need that here in the second half.
2nd and 4. Miller, a lot of room to get revving there as he goes ahead for the first down, tackled by Bayard.
The penalty flag down. I'm not sure if Alabama had enough guys up on the line of scrimmage on the offensive line.
Offside. Defense number 99. 5-yard penalty for the previous spot. It result in a first down.
I thought the right tackle for him. He was a bit off the line. He was lined up right across from Rashad Cheney, who lined up in the neutral zone. Joe, you've seen now Alabama run the ball the last 2 plays, and offensive line firing off a little bit and finally creating some space for Jam Miller in these backs.
First time that Bama has been in South Florida territory since 3:28 to go in the 2nd quarter. Orbit motion, Milroe play action, sets up the screen to the other side. Jam Miller as they drive ahead and move the chains. The flag is down to the 34-yard line. It was a well-designed play, but we're going to have to check on this flag again. It's been nonstop, hasn't it?
It's a block in the back by Tyler Booker.
Block in the back. Offense number 52. 10-yard penalty for spun the foul. A big first down.
They did such a great job setting this up, and there's, you know, jet motion as you mentioned, and they got the flow going to the right side, and they literally have it. They have it ready, and Booker's out in front. You see 52 locked up there with the cornerback Deshaun Rucker. He just shoves him in the back.
Sean Rucker, who left the game and she was being tended to by the training staff earlier tonight, back in there. So 10-yard penalty would back it up to a 1st and 12. 20 penalties for 161 yards between these 2 teams in this game. Milroe on first down. Incomplete, was trying to get it to Prentice. And a flag is down as Milroe took the hit.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 0. 15-yard penalty for the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, it's Doug Blue Eli who comes through the middle of the line of scrimmage, and you're going to see him bearing down on Milroe. You'd love him to just be able to lay up. But he's running full speed, and he's a 300-pound guy, and he can't stop. And, like, he's not scooping him up and slamming him in the ground with the intent to punish. Joe, when I played, that definitely was not a penalty.
No, that was pretty much every play.
Targeting was happening every single play.
First down at the 30-yard line for Bama. Milroe with a man on his feet. But his fleet feet extended. Another flag comes down as he just throws it again. I mean, this game is so choppy with all the penalty flags.
Yeah, guess who? Welcome Formby at right tackle.
They may start watching O-line film tonight.
Holding, offense number 75. 10-yard penalty the previous spot.
And that might be the fourth holding penalty on him in this game. And Decarius Hawthorne, number 90 for USF, has been very, very disruptive. But Big 75 is having a big hard time. I mean, he's getting beat across his face to the inside over and over and over again.
And there's Caden Proctor, who's out of action. So they've had to shuffle things along that offensive line, and you're seeing the results. 1st and 20. Milroe looking over options, goes underneath shallow to Ryan Williams, and true freshman is tackled at the 26-yard line.
I think it brings up an interesting question. You know, can Alabama throw the ball to win games this year? Last year against Texas and Michigan, when teams took the run away, they struggled in those games pushing it downfield. They've only got 48 rushing yards so far in this one. Can Jalen Milroe, can this offensive line and pass pro, can this receiving group, can they make enough plays here in a one-point game through the air?
Second and 7, and he keeps it with Miller. And Miller able to turn the corner, and they're going to mark him about a yard short of that line to gain.
That's a really good read by Jalen Milroe here, because he's reading outside. He's looking at Michael Williams, number 14, to see if he hesitates. And if he does, that tells him to give it to Jan Miller. And then you see Miller's speed. They'll sometimes line him up at wide receiver. They'll give him jet sweeps. But getting him to the outside, I think, is where Jan Miller truly shines in this offense.
Third and 1. Miller straight ahead. And a first down for Alabama.
Really good job that time by Parker Brailsford at center, the transfer from Washington, one-on-one against Hawthorne. We talked about being very disruptive, but he wins his battle. I think the biggest upgrade Bama made this year across the whole team was at center, bringing Brailsford in.
Quick to the outside. Williams spins but can't break free. Ryan Williams thought he could turn and get upfield right to that goal line, but he was tackled by Brent Austin.
Nice quick read. They were giving a lot of access off the line of scrimmage, so it's an easy pitch and throw for Jalen Milroe. And Joe, this has been the area of the field inside the 10-yard line where Jalen Milroe has been able to go to work with his legs. 2 rushing touchdowns, and they like to call a bunch of designed runs for him in this area of the field.
Second down run, Miller tackled for a loss. That was Byard coming up with the tackle in these closing seconds of the third quarter.
Yeah, when you get down to this area of the field, this is where USF goes blitz zero. They try to bring one more person than you.
Zone power head to the medical tent after he made a really good play for the 5-yard reception to make it 1st and goal, Alabama. Number 4 team in the country. They're favored by 33 points in a 1-point game here in the fourth quarter against South Florida.
To me, the best players, he's got to touch the ball and keep the ball, and that's Jalen Milroe at this point of the game, this part of the field.
Haynes, nothing there, stacked up. '26 straight wins against group of 5 teams by massive margins. Not tonight.
Got a USF player down. It's DeMarco Augustin.
His backup safety.
Yeah.
When you think about that stat of 26 straight wins against this level of opponent by an average of 38 points per game, you think about the fact that Alabama has not lost to an unranked opponent at home since 2007. And then South Florida in a choppy, sloppy game, sitting here in the fourth quarter with just a 1-point margin. Jesse, let's remind everybody of what we'll be a part of next week with the SEC on ABC triple header. At noon, it's going to be number 18 LSU taking on South Carolina. At 3:30, Texas A&M and Florida down in Gainesville. And then the number 1 team in the country, the Dogs, face Kentucky at 7:30 p.m. That is the SEC on ABC.
Yeah, South Carolina really opened it up late in the game against Kentucky today. DJ Lagway looked really good for Florida against Samford. Question mark there. I think a lot of people are going to be wondering against Texas A&M next week if Graham Mertz is healthy, who gets the start at quarterback. I think that's something that'll get discussed a lot this week leading into great slate of games on the weekend.
We saw glimpses of DJ Lagway last week when we were doing that Miami game.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid's got real gifts.
Yeah.
Real gifts.
Yeah, there's a reason he was the number 1 ranked dual threat quarterback coming out this season. I mean, he just has things you can't coach at 6'3", 240 pounds. The ball just flies out of his arm. He's a big physical runner with athleticism as well, and gives some different dimensions to Billy Napier's offense.
Elsewhere in the SEC today, Texas 31 to 12
and how good
at
was
Michigan.
How good was Quinn Ewers on the road again? Bama fans obviously know about that based on what he did here in this stadium last year, but today against all those blitzes looks from Michigan on the road in the Big House, he was outstanding on 3rd down. I think Texas made a big statement. Oh,
no doubt about it. He had 3 touchdowns today. This is Bama's longest drive of the second half. 10 plays, 50 yards. 2nd and goal. Milroe to pass. And he gets it to the big Robbie Oots. As Oots is going to be marked out at the 2-yard line.
I just don't think you have to overthink this thing. If you're Kalen DeBoer in Alabama, you're down on what, the 2-yard line? You've got one of the best athletes in college football playing quarterback. Just let him go. Let him catch the shotgun snap, get the extra blocker, and just go.
His 2 rushing touchdowns today does Milroe. Do they keep it in his hands? 3rd and goal. Oh, he fumbled a snap. Milroe fumbled a snap. South Florida thinks they've got it. And they do. Another turnover. Just when Bama and this crowd thought they were punching it in, it's South Florida's ball.
And interesting to have Jalen Milroe go under center this close to the line of scrimmage. Obviously a fumbled exchange. And you don't have to tell Alabama about center quarterback exchange issues, especially after last season. They had Kendrick Law going in jet motion, and I don't know if he was going to hand that off or not, but the timing of it all was messed up. He never was able to get the ball, and what a massive, massive mistake for Alabama right down on USF's goal line.
Bernard Gooden with the fumble recovery at the 4-yard line. Hawthorne was in there as well. The 3rd Bama fumble all this half, just when they were looking to try to extend that slim 1-point lead.
I just don't understand why he's not in the shotgun like he always is on every snap, and you just let him catch it. It's QB power downhill.
And now Byron Brown with his feet a yard into the end zone, taking over here in the 4th quarter.
I think if you're USF here, Joe, you're just trying to get some breathing room, right? You're just trying to get away from your goal line.
And not just the goal line, but that student section here at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny.
This is an area of the field, too, where you wonder how much the coach-player communication works on the microphone. This is the loudest part of Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Byron Brown, the quarterback, on 2nd and 8. He's going to keep it himself, and Brown slips up as he made that cut out to the 11-yard line. If he kept his footing, perhaps he would have moved the chains, but it'll be a big 3rd down now for Alex Golish and the Bulls. Under 13 minutes to play. A 33.5-point underdog against number 4 here on a night when they're celebrating Saban. 3rd and 3 out of the backfield. Keith, defensively they got to him, and it looks like he's going to be marked short.
And that's another example of an inaccurate throw by Byron Brown. If he's able to put that out in front of Teron Keith, he can catch it and advance it, but because it's thrown behind him, it slows down all his momentum, and then it's Justin Jefferson who's able to rally to it and make the tackle.
It's an excellent tackle by Jefferson. He was the #1 ranked JUCO linebacker in the country. And now they're going to send the punt team out there. Remember, a new punt returner for Bama because of the injury to Cole Adams. So Stokes from the end zone after the turnover down near the goal line as he skies it away, looking to flip the field. This is a line drive of a punt fielded at the 38 by Mbakwe, and he's got a good return. And Bama's going to have great field position. Just moments ago, they thought they were going to punt. Broadcast from Tuscaloosa, Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, the new name here in T-Town. Just a 1-point margin. Jalen Milroe, where he's most dangerous, splitting defenders and getting ahead for a first down. Why not just do that? You're looking at me like Jesse.
It's not hard, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel and overcomplicate this thing. I think sometimes as coaches, you get paralysis by analysis, trying to call everything on your play sheet. Let the best athlete on the field carry the football.
You can see Brent Austin is still down on the field, a backup cornerback. Jalen Milroe with the 2 rushing touchdowns tonight.
Remember, he had a long touchdown called back because of a holding penalty, but I mean, I think at this situation in the game, 4th quarter up by 1 point, number 4 just needs to carry the football as often as possible.
On this second half, 3 fumbles by Alabama. The opening kickoff of the second half. K-Law fumble.
Yeah, Kendrick Law putting it on the ground. That was a big play for the confidence and momentum for USF. And then you see Mac Harris flying across the field, creating that fumble. And then just on the last drive down on the goal line, for the first time today, they put Jalen Milroe under center, and he has a fumbled exchange with center Parker Brailsford, which gives possession back to USF.
You hear the cascade of boos raining down here as the player who was down and being tended to, Brent Austin, went on and ran off the field after he got up after seeing the trainer. 11.5 minutes to go. Number 4 Alabama is coming off a thumping victory where they looked so razor sharp against Western Kentucky. South Florida played them tough last year in a lackluster road win for Bama. And it's happening again here at home with a penalty-filled game. Haynes straight ahead as he gets it down to the 17-yard line.
And you got to give USF their credit, though, Joe, especially on defense. And what did Alex Golesh tell them in the pregame? He said, win your individual battles. And I got to say, this D-line, the front 7 for Todd Orlando right there, the secondary, more often than not, they've been winning their one-on-ones in this game.
And he said, when we're at our best, we can play with anybody in the country. The defense has proven that tonight. 2nd and 6. Milroe, this time he's tackled at the line of scrimmage as they stayed sound defensively with Rico Watson.
He did such a good job. He stayed outside and made sure Jalen Milroe kept the football and then crashed down in to make the tackle.
It's 3rd and 6, Jesse.
Yeah, and all night, the pressure from the secondary level, from the linebackers, they've been able to get in the backfield and bring Jalen Milroe's eyes down. We asked earlier, can they throw to win games? Here's a critical 3rd down in the red zone.
Milroe back to pass. Drives the ball complete inside the 5 and into the end zone goes Kobe Prentice. Set up by a good punt return. And then cashing in on the opportunity was Milroe.
Well, I'm just going to say this. Alabama was lucky this was not a hold on right tackle Wilkin Formby, because it looked like he got a little bit of a pull against Rico Watson on the right side. Right over here. I mean, this call could easily go either way. To me, when I watched it live, right at this point, I think that's a hold. But they don't call it. And Jalen Milroe last year takes off and runs. This year, he keeps his eyes downfield, spots Kobe Prentice. Nice accurate throw. He goes and does the rest.
Nick Sheridan, the offensive coordinator, saying we needed that. This was Mbakwe on the punt return that set things up. Didn't hesitate at all. Took advantage of the block. At the big return, it was capped by Prentice with a 16-yard touchdown catch. And for Bama, the first points since 3:28 in the second quarter. And still a one-possession game. Connor Talty as he kicks away. Well, defense has had some moments, but what do you need to see from the South Florida offense with the game on the line here now with 10 minutes to play?
Can they throw the ball?
Yeah.
They've been one-dimensional this entire game, and it's been impressive, especially Byron Brown toting the rock from the quarterback position, but he's missed a lot of throws today.
He
hasn't been accurate, and you just get the feeling, if you're going to beat Bama, and all these NFL players on defense they have here at home at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Byron Brown's going to have to start hitting some throws.
Brown is 11 of 25 for just 68 yards passing, and he's been sacked 3 times. But it is crunch time. And he throws it a little bit behind the intended target, but a catch by Brown Stevens.
That was an incredible catch by Brown Stevens, running the dig route, going across the field. John Legend's nephew showing his hands.
Yep, he's the nephew of the Grammy Award winner. And here's a big run now by Wright. And here comes South Florida to respond.
Yeah, Naquan Wright is a physical runner, 5'9", 200 pounds. He trucked Caleb Downs in this game last year, and they're showing you the tough running right up the middle.
Quick tempo. Brown keeps it alive, and then is driven back that time by Justin Jefferson.
Wow.
He's had 2 big plays now in this fourth quarter.
He really has, and he's dropping back into coverage, and as soon as he sees Brown tuck the football, he goes into attack mode, and he made South Florida's quarterback pay for keeping the football.
Instant replay is reviewing the last play for potential targeting foul.
Potential targeting foul is what they're looking at.
So the definition of targeting, again, is forcible contact to the head or neck area of a defenseless opponent, or hitting him with the crown of your helmet, any part of the body. And I think what they're going to go back and look at here is if, in fact, when he ducked the head and tucked it, if it's the crown of the helmet that makes the first contact, and if that first contact is forcible in the head or neck area of Byron Brown.
It's a great explanation, Jesse. Now let's bring in our longtime SEC official, Matt Austin. Matt, how do you read it?
Jesse, that was well put. By going by the rule book, there's an indicator. Yes, lowering his head, he is attacking, and I do think the contact is with the crown of the helmet. I do think this will be a target.
You know, it's so true. When you watch it in real time, it looked like a
football play.
It looked like a football play.
Yeah.
When you slow it down and you look at it from those replay angles, I mean, by the rule of the law, I mean, I do think that does look like targeting.
Justin Jefferson awaits the verdict here in a real critical juncture of this fourth quarter. And here it is in real speed, to your point, Jesse. Consider the circumstances right now as it stands. 2nd and 11 at the Alabama 43 with South Florida trailing by 8. But the targeting will obviously be a huge boost to South Florida's chances here late. Here's the call.
After further review, number 15 of the defense committed a targeting foul in the front of his helmet. Only a 15-yard penalty run.
So tag on the 15.
Yeah, so that's a double whammy too for Alabama, because not only do you lose the yardage now and put USF in much better field possession, but Alabama's going to lose Justin Jefferson for the first half of their next game at Wisconsin at Camp Randall Stadium. And Jefferson, you've seen the type of playmaker he is. They've got an outstanding linebacker unit, but he plays a big role in this defense because of the depth, and that's not a guy that they want to lose in the first half of that game.
So Jefferson's out of the game. He made 2 big plays in his fourth quarter, but that one nailed for targeting, so we won't see action early against Wisconsin. The bye week, and then Georgia comes on their schedule. But right now, Bama is in a fight. First down, South Florida. Wright's got a seam inside the 10-yard line. It is first and goal Bulls with under 9 minutes to play.
Everybody from Alabama crashed down into the middle, and that was the read for Brown to hand that off to Wright.
Here he is again, this time clogged up and driven back. 8.5 minutes to play. A team that entered the night as a 33.5-point underdog against a Bama team that was locked in, focused, and honoring Nick Saban. Second and goal. Right.
Man,
you get an extra push. Not much there.
I got to say, though, I'm impressed with how well South Florida's run the ball against a much bigger and much more athletic front seven from Alabama. They've got 180 rushing yards at this point. Alex Golesh, he's just going downhill. This is just physical, mano-a-mano, and they're winning in the trenches.
Remember Alex Golesh, the head coach, the play caller here. He was the offensive coordinator play caller for Tennessee when they upset Bama 2 years ago. Now is the head coach. Big game hunting for real here. Fourth quarter, third and goal. Byron Brown looking to run it himself. Not much room. Spins inside the 5-yard line. It was LT Overton, the first to get there. The transfer from Texas A&M, who's a 6'5", 285-pounder.
I think you got to go if you're Alex Golesh here. I mean, he's bringing the field goal unit out, but I don't know if you're going to get this opportunity again down inside the 5-yard line.
John Cannon is the kicker. From 22. And he puts it through. They settle for the field goal.
The thing is, you still need a touchdown to win.
Yes, exactly.
So, you know, I understand you want to pay the drive off and you want to get points, but taking advantage of the targeting penalty, putting you in great field position, breaking off some runs like that, an incredible catch with Michael Brown-Stevens. They have not thrown the ball very well. I just think that was a situation really to deliver a message to your team and a confidence in them. Playing here on the road in a game nobody expects you to win, but just kind of put your chips in the middle of the table and go for it. Taking a look back at Alabama's last drive, the impressive true freshman, Mbakwe, sets them up in really good field position on the punt return. And then it was Jalen Milroe. Let's just simplify everything here. Let's just let our best player tote the rock. He did a great job here, a little breakdown in protection, finding Kobe Prentice for the touchdown. Katie was talking earlier about his poise and the leadership that he's shown throughout the course of the night when things haven't gone great. I think he showed you a lot of that on that last drive.
Nico Chromatica, who had the fumble recovery earlier to kick away. Katie.
Hey, Tez, just want to keep an eye on Elijah Pritchett, 57 for Alabama. He's going in right now on the offensive line. He started for Caden Proctor last week against WKU at left tackle, but he got a little banged up, so he was limited in practice, but now they've got him out there.
Yeah, and Katie, he struggled a little bit last week against Western Kentucky as well, and so we've talked about all the issues they've had on the right tackle position with Wilkin Formby now, and with the game on the line, You know, drastic times call for drastic measures, and they're bringing in a guy that might not be 100% healthy.
Cam Miller, good run on first down.
And on the very first play, they go right behind the new right tackle.
Second and 3. Miller again. Here he goes. Cam Miller past midfield.
Really nice job by patience and vision by Miller. He keeps his shoulder pads square to the line of scrimmage, and that essentially gives him a three-way go. You see right here, he's just kind of waiting. He can go left, right up the middle, or bounce it to the right. Really nice job fundamentally there by Miller.
Milroe gets it out quickly, goes to Williams. Ryan Williams. Look at this kid, 17 years old and on top of the world. The prodigy, the youngest player in major college football, does it again. Last week, an 84-yarder from Milroe, a 55-yarder from Milroe. And just when they needed it most, the true freshman, the 17-year-old who reclassified, the youngest of all, comes up big.
Well, we've seen USF's corners press man coverage all game. This time, Paco Austin's giving Ryan Williams 10 yards of cushion. So, easy decision by Jalen Milroe. Did you see the first 5 yards by Williams after he caught the ball? I mean, he just explodes. He's so quick and he's so fluid and difficult to tackle after the catch. His balance is incredible, and you can see again why Alabama faithful believe this is the next great Bama wide receiver.
They call him Hollywood. But you talk to those around the program. We had a conversation with the offensive coordinator, Nick Sheridan, yesterday. He said for a 17-year-old, his humility, his work ethic, and it's all based on the fact that he loves ball. He said ball finds energy, and he has energy. Does he ever? (28-16). Ryan Williams, get to know him. You're going to be saying Hollywood's name for a lot of big moments down here in T-Town. We get the opportunity to check in with Matt Berry. What's up, Matt?
Joe Tessitore, I'm here to guide the Arizona State, Mississippi State audience. Sam Levitt, the Devils, trying to get their first ever win against SEC school. That is going to kick over on ESPN News. We will bring it here to ESPN at the conclusion of your game.
And then we'll all be sitting back for a little college football final.
I'm excited for that game, too. Jeff Levy, Mississippi State, Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State, two outstanding offensive minds. A lot of creativity between those two as well. If you're a fan of offensive football, it could be a fun one to watch.
There's Byron Brown on first down. That's incomplete, out of bounds. It's been announced that College Game Day is going to be going to South Carolina next week in Columbia as LSU visits South Carolina. You were mentioning what the Gamecocks were able to do today, Jesse.
Yeah, Lenore Sellers, a quarterback there. That offense, man, they just exploded. Got a big pick six defensively at the end of the game, and it's a big win. Big win for them.
Rocket Sanders had a touchdown run.
Yeah.
Sellers had a couple touchdown passes in that big win against Kentucky. Brown being chased. Tries to connect on the sidelines with Sean Atkins.
You know, at this point, South Florida is going to have to make some plays throwing the football, and that's been the issue so far in this game. They've been completely one-dimensional. So these receivers got to separate. Brown's got to be accurate.
13-yard catch by Atkins for a first down. Joyner Not much there on the right side. By the way, Sean Atkins wears number 38. He's their star receiver. He's a record setter. Yeah. 38's one of those jerseys you get handed as a true freshman and you try to get rid of.
He was a walk-on, so that's the number he got. He's in his 6th year now, but he said he's never changed his number because he's kept that chip on his shoulder.
That's right.
And he wants to prove to people he's the real deal.
I love that. And check down to Joyner. Joyner's going to split defenders and be right at that line to gain.
Watch for number 38. Has said no defense ever.
That's right.
But really, I mean, Atkins last year becomes the first ever 1,000-yard receiver in program history. He's crafty, guy that fights to get open, dependable, good hands.
Defense number 1, 10-yard penalty from end of the run, and an automatic first down.
South Florida trailing by 12, but they're moving the ball here with under 5 minutes to play.
And a holding call on Damani Jackson at corner for Alabama on that last one. Sean Atkins, this is a time of the game where Byron Brown's in a bind. He needs to find a guy. 38's a good place to go.
You said former walk-on. Guy was working at a steakhouse in Tampa, and coach said, listen, you got to give up the job. You got to focus on football all the time. Became a record setter last year. He's a great representative of the program. First down at the Alabama 43. Brown. And check down again, this time to Keith. And Keith is met by Campbell.
I tell you, Joe, the speed that Alabama has at linebacker. I mean, Jahad Campbell, you just saw him. But we talked about Deontay Lawson and Quay Russaw and Q Robinson. It's so hard to go sideline to sideline horizontal and run away from these guys. You can't do it.
2nd and 9. Brown spins out of it at midfield. Tries to reset and then has to run out of bounds. It is chased by Campbell. Preseason All-SEC selection, primed to have a huge year as Campbell.
Well, he's 6'3", he's 245 pounds, and you're just not supposed to move like that for a guy his size. He's tired, though, because he's been chasing Byron Brown all night long, dropping in coverage and having to react to the football. See, hands on the hips. Big 3rd down here.
3rd down and 7. Q Robinson, Tim Smith, and the rest up front looking for a stop on 3rd and 7 with 3.5 minutes to play. Nearly intercepted as Brown was dealing with a little bit of pressure. Sabb was trying to get on it, the transfer from Michigan, who had 2 interceptions last week.
Yeah, it was LT Overton that was bearing down on Byron Brown. So here's another 4th down, and you've got to go for this now if you're Alex Golesh. Who can win? You're going to be under duress if you're Byron Brown. You know that right now. So somebody outside has got to win.
Fourth down and 7. And a timeout is going to be used by South Florida. And we will take a commercial break. Alex Golesh and this offense will talk things over. They're facing a 4th and 7. Trailing. Ben has been looking on at his former team he coached. Now the field's named after him. And Coach DeBoer has been watching a team that's been penalty-filled, but then bursts of excitement. And now a 4th and 7 for South Florida, trailing by 12.
You got Abdur Rahman Yassin down here working one-on-one against a true freshman, isolated with a safety in the middle of the field.
Incomplete. No flag. Josh Porter was the intended target.
And I think he had a shot at maybe throwing a touchdown to Rahman Yassin. They had him running a fade route down the boundary here. And it looked to me with the safety in the middle of the field, he got behind him, and that's a shot he could have taken.
You called that, Jesse.
Just a clean release, and Mubakwe had the big punt return earlier. He's a true freshman. He was the 2nd-ranked overall high school player coming out this year. Very, very talented, but young. Hasn't had a lot of snaps yet. I guess just an example of a quarterback just having to do a better job of picking the pre-snap matchup.
Malachi Moore was there defensively with the other option that he threw to. And now 3:20 to play, and Jalen Milroe and this running attack can put the game away. As Milroe tries to bounce it to the outside, scoots out of bounds.
You got to stay inbounds, Joe. And that's something I think Jalen Milroe knows. In this position of the game, up 12 points, and you're just trying to make this clock run, and the clock's running now, and it just, pauses for a second, but it's just all about understanding the situation in these critical moments. So right now you see them bleeding the clock, taking their time. You anticipate that they would just keep running the football.
Miller, as he goes past midfield, cuts back inside the 20, keeps his balance and seals it. Jam Miller, a 56-yard touchdown run. Talent eventually took over. Explosive talent.
Well, we talked about this offensive line. They've had a lot of issues today, but on that last touchdown, you saw their athleticism. It starts with Jaden Roberts at guard, getting out and getting a block, and then Parker Brailsford at center, pulling around and getting a block on the linebacker, Jamie Petway. Safety takes a bad angle. Jam Miller is able to bounce it, and he shows you his speed and elusiveness out in the open field.
Jesse, you reflect now on just the last 2.5 minutes. When you have a guy like Ryan Williams who could go for 43 yards, and then a player like Jam Miller who can do this.
Yeah, and if you just stay out of your own way, if you don't have the turnovers, if you don't have the penalties, I mean, the sky's the limit for this offense. The crazy part is there's a lot of people at home that won't have watched this game. They're going to see the box score after and go, yeah, Bama won 35-16. Yeah, they handled them. The game was always never in doubt. Too much talent. But that's not the real story here. I think you've seen kind of the majority of this game, USF plays so well on defense, and Alabama just keeps shooting themselves in the foot, but you're seeing a short glimpse here in these last 2 drives. If they just play clean, they're explosive.
I agree with you. It's going to be so deceiving. But then Williams and Miller can fix a lot of things, can't they?
They sure can.
There is Jam. Such a great all-around running back.
Yeah, you think about what they lost with Jace McClellan going off to the NFL at running back and Roydell Williams transferring to Florida State. They need to rely on Jam Miller and Justice Haynes to carry the football and spell each other and make big runs like that. They've got home run hitters lined up all over this offense at their disposal. With a dynamic quarterback like Jalen Milroe, they're going to be difficult to stop if they can play smart football.
And that's really a 1A, 1B kind of situation with the running backs. It's Byron Brown just goes underneath, and that's incomplete as he was trying to get it to right.
I think the truth is for Alabama, Joe, is you could talk about, well, got to go to Tennessee and they've got to go to LSU and Oklahoma. And Georgia's coming here in a couple weeks. Auburn's coming in, Missouri's coming in, but the focus really needs to be on Wisconsin next week, Camp Randall Stadium, and fixing the penalty issues, fixing the turnover issues, and giving themselves an opportunity.
Obviously some concern with the offensive line tonight. The 2-minute timeout in college football, it has arrived.
Say too, all around college football, but certainly in the SEC as well. So they'll be leading off with how good Texas looked up at the Big House today.
How about Tennessee just blasting NC State?
They look good.
Mississippi State and Arizona State set to come your way. We wrap up these final couple minutes here in Tuscaloosa. Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, forever to be known now. Brown on 3rd and 6. looking for an opportunity, goes against the grain and incomplete, so it'll be 4th down from there.
I know the game's got out of hand a bit, Joe, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't give credit to USF and just how different of a football team they are this year in Alex Golish's 2nd season. They are so much improved on the defensive side of the ball, and I think they're good enough to compete for an American Conference championship this year. It's going to be tough. You got Memphis coming in at home. You got UAB, who beat them a year ago with Trent Dilfer, coming to home. You got to go on the road against a good Tulane team that almost beat K-State today. Also got to go at FAU, who beat them a season ago. But the talent across the board is improved. And they've got a head coach, Joe, that they respond to him and what his message is.
That was the case tonight. 4th and 6 for Golish's offense. Incomplete. In a couple weeks, they're going to be playing that loaded Miami team, Jesse.
Yeah, and we've seen them in person, too. There's a chance, when it's all said and done, that USF maybe plays 2 playoff teams this year from the Power 4 in Alabama and Miami. There's a chance of that. You see Alex Golish there hugging his quarterback. He knows how much of a warrior he's been, how much toughness he showed today and displayed today. They've asked a lot from Byron Brown in this game. Carrying the football
for 108 yards.
And time again, he put his body on the line for his teammates and for his head coach.
And for the 2nd year in a row, they played this kind of a muddled game that was grabbing everybody's attention looking at the scoreboard. As once again, the running game of Alabama is going to make this game look like nothing we covered for most of it, as Justice Haynes brings it right in, a 29-yard touchdown.
So people at home are like, where was this offense for the first, I don't know, 50 minutes of this game? I mean, everybody's getting it. It's like Oprah. You get a touchdown.
Sure.
You get a touchdown. Everybody gets a touchdown. Justice Haynes doing a nice job here, bouncing this thing outside. Again, look at big 77. Jaden Roberts pulling. He's bouncing off his own guys. Literally bounced off center Parker Brailsford that time. And you're right, Joe. I mean, people that didn't watch this, they'll have no idea just how competitive this game really was.
This game was so competitive, Jesse, that earlier in this 4th quarter, South Florida had the ball deep. It was 6:45 to go in this game when they made it 16-21. There was 6 minutes to play in the game, and you're saying they should just go for it here, try to tie the game. That was with 6:45 to go in the game. All of a sudden, you look up, it's 42.
And that's why, another reason why I think you go for it in that situation, Joe, because this offense is just one play away all the time, as you've seen now in the last 3 drives. You just kind of wonder, how long can you hold on against the talent of this team? Listen, there's going to be a lot of things to clean up for Kalen DeBoer and Alabama when they go back to work this week. But I think one of the things that he'll say is, you showed resiliency, you finished the game. You finished it strong on both sides of the ball. And we now have to build on this as we get ready to head into a really tough place to play at Camp Randall against Wisconsin. Like, forget about Georgia in a couple weeks. I know that's the game everybody's had circled since the start of the year and the schedule came out. They just need to worry about Wisconsin.
Jalen Milroe, his evening. Remember, 5 touchdowns last week, had 4 tonight.
Yeah, and best athlete on the field just needs to touch the football, and he needs to carry the football, and he needs to throw the football, and you got to do it in as many different creative ways as you can. This is a very different looking Kalen DeBoer offense versus the one he ran at Washington with Michael Penix Jr., simply because of the skill set that Jalen Milroe has. But at the end, seeing flashes from true freshman Ryan Williams at wide receiver and seeing the home run hitting power of Justice Haynes and Jam Miller running the football, Jalen Milroe, one of the great dual threat quarterbacks in the country today. And this is pretty crazy. First player in program history to have consecutive games where you throw for 2 and run for 2.
As Joyner takes the carry, Bryce Archie has come into the game to clean up this game here in the final minute and change. The backup quarterback is a transfer from Coastal Carolina. As Byron Brown's evening is done, and for the 2nd year in a row, he plays this kind of game against Alabama where he runs for more yards than he passed for. That happened last year as well. He ran for 108 tonight, did Brown, and he passed for 103. And there is Byram Brown.
He's going to need an ice bath after this game.
23 carries against Alabama. Yeah.
Compression sleeves, IVs, all the fluids. Player for Alabama down. It's Bray Hubbard.
Bray Hubbard, who is a backup free safety. Well, we talk about the culture of a place, and we had the privilege of being at practice on Saturday, and this is how they finish up the walkthrough. This is what they call tied teammates. Coach DeBoer gives children struggling with a medical issue a chance to meet their heroes. 7-year-old Azaria Banks, look at what she does here with the touchdown run. The 7-year-old,
wow,
scoring the touchdown. They said, who are your favorite players? She said, all of them. They're just a beautiful scene every week. Tied teammates is something that Coach DeBoer puts forth every week.
Yeah, really touching. And listen, you know, certainly Kalen DeBoer respects and honors everything that Nick Saban built here, and the expectation that has been created, the standard that's been set. But Kalen DeBoer also is going to do things his own way, and whether that's the practice schedule, how you recruit, how you game plan, what the pregame locker room speech is like, it's worked for him. He's won 90% of the games anywhere he's been a head coach. It's going to be a little bit different, but really kind of putting his own stamp on this program and how they want to go about things, and what they did for that little girl. That's very, very special to get an opportunity to impact people's lives like that each and every week.
You know, they always talk about you never want to be the guy who follows the guy, right? You follow Nick Saban. What a task that is. And historically, you could look through the history of college football. There's some shaky results there, but they're off to a good start with Coach DeBoer, who's proven himself before, especially with what he did last year, and the players love it. He says, I'm just so appreciative of the instant buy-in at this place that will now be called Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. As Coach DeBoer will move his mark to 2-0 at Alabama on a night that was filled with penalties and some choppy play, but in the end, the explosive plays from Ryan Williams and Jam Miller and Justice Haynes, and thus a final score that looks like this: